Chapter-861-Secret. It was given to me by Ogura-sama. Ogura-sama, she has passed away. As Uchiha Makoto spoke, his body trembled slightly, and then he began to cry, sobbing, They are all dead. What? Who? Luhan hurriedly lowered his head and wiped Makoto's tears. Makoto seemed to remember something in the past and was very sad. The people around the third uncle. After the third uncle died, Uchiha Makoto began to tell a tragic story. Or because of Uchiha Ieyasu died on the night of the rebellion. 37 people of the Uchiha tribe died that night. Uchiha Ieyasu and his cronies all died in battle. After that, there were still some people who fought with Uchiha. People close to Ieyasu are still alive. Some of them escaped the disaster because of their missions abroad, some were relatives of Uchiha Ieyasu's die-hard cronies, and even Uchiha Ieyasu's direct relatives, but because of their lack of strength, they did not rank at the top. These people did not die on the night of the rebellion, but after Uchiha Fugaku came to power, the top Uchiha tribe changed their blood, and the group of people who followed Uchiha Fugaku up began a frantic revenge. Uchiha Ogura was Uchiha Ieyasu's cousin. She was 50 years old when she died. She was forced to die by the people around Fugaku. Okura knew that he couldn't escape the knife and didn't want to die in humiliation, so she chose suicide. Before committing suicide, she gave all her property to Uchiha Makoto, including the black cat ninja beast. 1 year after the night of the Uchiha rebellion, there were 8 ninjas who committed suicide in the Uchiha tribe, and 15 people died inexplicably. Just like Kokura, many of them died in the period before their death. Own property was given to Uchiha Makoto. They all had a premonition of their own death and arranged the funeral in advance, but some committed suicide and some were killed. Luhan suddenly remembered the gossip about Makoto, not only that she was looking for messing with men, but also that she made money and murdered her life, and took away the wealth of many people. Now it makes sense. Makoto has indeed won a lot of family wealth, but it was given by those who were forced to death, but was used by people around Fugaku to discredit Makoto. Uchiha Makoto is now the first rich man in the Uchiha clan, very rich. But they still dare not touch Makoto. Because Makoto's identity is too sensitive, Uchiha Ieyasu's niece, Fugaku also pursued her. In fact, Makoto was not killed, and it has a lot to do with Luhan. Although Hangguang died, his prestige still exists, and his relatives spread throughout Konoha and Makoto. Rumors of an affair with Luhan have been around for a long time. It is only natural that someone secretly takes care of Makoto. That group of guys. Luhan suddenly laughed, a bit hideous. He understands one thing. That is, Fugaku, who is supported by Sarutobi Hiruzen to become the patriarch, has poor control over the Uchiha clan. He didn't rely on prestige, record, and strength to ascend to the top, but was forced up. What Sarutobi Hiruzen considered was that Uchiha Fugaku was Uchiha Yokoyama's son, and he was the core of another faction besides the Ieyasu faction. But what Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't expect was that the young Fugaku couldn't hold back at all. Those guys, the high-level Konoha around Uchiha Fugaku, they are the real controllers of the Uchiha clan. They were by Uchiha Fugaku's side. In this world, even if there were many changes, they were still there. After all, this group of people came to Fugaku's side because of Yokoyama's relationship. Rise. They are the group of ninjas who wanted to rebel when Konoha was more than 50 years old in the original book. It's them who pushed Fugaku to the extreme, and would rather destroy the Uchiha clan than the Konoha. They are the true ambitious martial artist of the Uchiha tribe. It's okay to die, it's a clean death. Luhan suddenly felt angry and relieved. He had long thought about changing some things, including the genocide of the Uchiha tribe. Now, he finally made a decision. Let it go. These damned guys, they are the cancer of the Uchiha tribe and the cancer of the Konoha. If they really want to rebel, they really want to die, and they force Fugaku to let his son kill himself and the people of the Light tribe. Then die. 3 uncles shouldn't die, Uchiha Makoto said suddenly. Huh. Luhan looked down at Makoto and stroked her hair. The 3rd uncle didn't rebel. He will never rebel. Uchiha Makoto said with great certainty, and then he hesitated, but the 3rd uncle is indeed planning something. I don't know, the 3rd uncle doesn't tell me, no involve me. As a result, he died suddenly. There was no rebellion at all that night, just those people around Fugaku, and some people I didn't know, with masks, they killed the 3rd uncle. Oh, Luhan was stunned. In fact, Luhan is not surprised that Uchiha Leiyang will betray. This guy is too belligerent and has a strong desire for power, so he may betray. Of course, this is not absolute. It is also a possibility that he does not rebel. I don't know, that night. I might have been killed, but someone rescued me in the chaos, took me away, and let me go back the next morning. Who? I didn't see his face, he hid his identity from me, but that look is familiar to me. Who is it? Master White Fang. Before Luhan died, Uchiha Makoto actually came out of Han Guang's house, and White Fang was often there, going back and forth. Even if the two didn't have much contact or even said a word, they would be familiar with each other's words and deeds. Luhan's expression froze. So complicated. Seems like a conspiracy. Why did Leiyang die? Why did Hatake Tsukumo hide his identity and save Makoto? With his strength enough to stop the Uchiha rebellion, why did he just take Makoto away regardless? What was Leiyang planning before his death? Also, White Fang, he's dead too. It was Sarutobi Hiruzen who wanted to kill Lord Leiyang, so Lord Leiyang died. The little black cat said suddenly. Chapter-862 decided to rob a tomb. The little black cat obviously knows something. It used to be the ninja beast of Uchiha Kokura, and Kokura was the person next to Leiyang. The ninja beast is a more reliable existence than a human being, because most ninja beasts have been born since childhood. With the master by his side, no one can turn against this ninja beast. Therefore, many times, the master will not avoid the ninja beast he raised when talking about confidential matters with others. What else do you know? Luhan squinted at the little black cat. Lord Leiyang once said that Sarutobi Hiruzen had betrayed Konoha, he colluded with outsiders. The little black cat shook his head and said, I have occasionally heard Lord Leiyang and the owner of Kokura say a few words. Lord Leiyang said that he was very indignant, and said, Sarutobi Hiruzen is sorry for Lord Hangguang. Quote. Betraying Konoha, colluding, I'm sorry Hangguang, Luhan whispered several times, but couldn't analyze anything. Makoto doesn't lie. Neither did the little black cat, because it was Makoto who spoke about the past first. So, Uchiha Leiyang's death, there is a big problem. And from what Makoto said, White Fang rescued her that night without saying anything or revealing her identity, and let Makoto go the next day. Obviously, White Fang knew the inside story. But White Fang is dead. Sister Makoto, are you in the room? There was a sudden greeting from the courtyard outside, a soft female voice, followed by footsteps approaching. Yes, Makoto responded to the doctor unnaturally. I'll go over there, Luhan whispered to Makoto, pointed to the kitchen, then got up and disappeared. Squeak. A young woman dressed in a Japanese-style home group pushed open the door, with a delicate food box hanging on her arm, and behind the woman, followed by a little one, the 4-year-old Uchiha Itachi. And this beautiful woman is Uchiha Itachi's mother, Uchiha Kane. Makoto was fixing her hair, her eyes were Yuhi's, and she smiled unnaturally when she saw the woman entering the door. She was not very good at acting. Auntie, Uchiha obediently saluted Makoto, then pounced on the little black cat, chasing the little black cat around the house. It seems that he does this often, and the little black cat dislikes him very much, impatiently accompany him around the house. Uchiha Shangyan put down the food box, and seeing Makoto haggard and barely smiling, took Makoto's hand very distressed and sat beside her, chatting with nothing to say. It should be comforted. She has already comforted her. She came to see Makoto today, and she had no other purpose, just to talk to Makoto. Makoto was absent-minded and often looked at the kitchen obscurely. She was just thinking about Luhan, but Shangyan didn't think so. She thought that her clan sister was wronged again. As Fugaku's wife, what happened to Shangyan to Makoto? It was clear that she had been angry and wanted to rehabilitate Makoto, but nothing had changed. Because even his husband, Uchiha Fugaku, the contemporary patriarch of the Uchiha clan, has little control over the big men in the clan who hold real power. Makoto's life is not easy, and so is Fugaku. Uchiha Fugaku can be said to be the most failed patriarch in the history of the Uchiha clan. Shangyan's laughter sounded from time to time in the room. She was talking about some interesting things in the village and wanted to make Makoto laugh. Makoto smiled copingly. Shangyan also brought some cakes and ate some with Makoto. Uchiha also ate some greedily and tried to lure the little black cat with the cakes, but the little black cat ignored it and ran into the kitchen. Come out. So, almost 2 hours passed. Shangyan took her son to say goodbye. Makoto escorted her out. After closing the courtyard door, she quickly ran back to the room and rushed into the kitchen, but there was no one. Makoto was a little panicked. She didn't know why she was so panicked. We'll be back. He said he would come at night. The little black cat the size of a palm jumped on Makoto's shoulder, sticking out its tongue. Makoto breathed a sigh of relief, and immediately regained his energy. With a radiant look, he walked out of the kitchen with the little black cat in his arms, and he didn't know what to think. The mountain behind Konoha village, the tomb of heroes deep in the forest. Luhan appeared on the luxuriant tree. His body was hidden in the canopy, his breath was completely restrained, and he looked at the stone tablets in the hero's tomb. Luhan wanted to steal the body. White Fang's body. He wants to resurrect White Fang. And he has already thought of a way to resurrect White Fang. Although the process is very troublesome and takes a long time, it can still be done. The idea of resurrecting White Fang. He regretted the death of White Fang the most. White Fang was a real hero, a peerless powerhouse, and Luhan's best friend. Luhan was hesitant before. After all, White Fang's death was not his responsibility. It's not wrong to save White Fang, but resurrecting White Fang requires 10% of his strength, but it's a big problem. And now, his idea of resurrecting White Fang is even stronger. Because Makoto and the little black cat told him something, let him understand that in the 10 years after his death, many secret things happened in Konoha. These things did not exist in the original work. Luhan could not guess by guessing. If it's an investigation, it's too complicated, too cumbersome, and takes too long. Luhan wanted to know what happened. There is a shortcut to take, and that is White Fang. White Fang was Captain Konoha Anbu when he died. Whatever the truth of his death, he must know the inside story. That is to say, as long as Luhan resurrects White Fang, he can know the secrets of those years. The insight map showed that there were 6 ninjas near the Tomb of Heroes. All of them should be Anbu ninjas. Luhan hid in the tree for a while and then disappeared. Not long after. A loud shout suddenly sounded near the Tomb of Heroes. Be careful. Kai. There is the sound of kunai breaking the air. There were some small disturbances near the Tomb of Heroes. All 6 Anbu ninjas moved. Among them, the 2 closest to the Tomb of Hengguang were attracted to leave. They would not be too far from the Tomb of Heroes, but it was impossible to sit back and watch the gangsters come and go freely. Call. In front of the overgrown tomb, Luhan appeared out of thin air and looked at the words, White Fang's tomb, on the tombstone. Chapter-863-Gentle Beauty. No one saw Luhan appear here because people were led away, but they will come back soon, and Luhan can't stay here for too long, otherwise he will definitely be seen. Act fast. Luhan took out a Hiraishin kunai, and the easiest way to steal Hatake Tsukumo's body is for Luhan to drive the kunai into the ground, into the coffin, and then go in instantly and put the corpse behind the space. Just as Luhan was about to start, he stopped a little uneasy. There won't be a seal on this tomb, will it? A strong blow to the seal would cause a big movement. Lu Han was just guessing, but he had to be careful. With a twinkle in his eyes, the eternal Mangekyo appeared, and immediately began to spin wildly. Sharingan's basic pupil technique, Insight Eye. The Insight Eye is the auxiliary ability of the copy eye. A ninja with Sharingan can use the Insight Eye to capture the details of the ninja's movements, which means that the speed of the opponent's hand seal is slowed down in Sharingan, so that all gestures can be seen clearly, and yes, it can be see each other's meridians and chakra trajectory. In terms of observing the opponent's meridians and chakra's trajectory, Byakugan is the strongest, which is the real perspective. Sharingan is much weaker in this regard, and it is not observed in a perspective way. However, Lu Han didn't want to see through it, he just wanted to see if there were curse marks buried in the tomb. Lu Han vaguely saw the pattern of the curse seals, and also saw that there were chakras in those curse seals. There is indeed a seal on White Fang's tomb. Lu Han frowned slightly and looked up at the other tombs. Most of them were unsealed. There were a total of 8 seals. Among them, Lu Han's own tomb, Hengguang Tomb, had the most seals. The incantation pattern on Hengguang's tomb is densely packed like a fine fishing net, and its seal strength is at least 10 times that of White Fang's tomb. The seal is one way. Lu Han's heart moved, and he muttered. He speculates that this is a one-way seal because he came out of the tomb of Hengguang in an instant without encountering any obstacles. That is to say, the seal on the tomb of Hengguang can prevent people from destroying it from the outside, but it cannot prevent people from destroying it from the outside. Inside out. It was originally used to prevent tomb robbery, so can the dead still climb out of the tomb? So the one-way seal is also normal. After all, the two-way seal is too complicated. Trouble. Lu Han glanced at the insight map again. Anbu Ninja had already turned into Yuhi's point, and was about to return to the vicinity of the Tomb of Heroes. Lu Han thought about it, and disappeared. Tomb raiding during the day is no ordinary trouble. There is a seal. If Lu Han forcibly destroys it, the movement will be big. It is really not easy to steal White Fang's body quietly, so Lu Han is leaving for the time being. He plans to come back at night. Not long after, another place in the forest. Lu Han appeared out of thin air, and then a figure flickered beside him and greeted Lu Han, Lord Hengguang. This man is the same height and body shape as Lu Han, wearing a black robe and a mask, dressed in a mysterious way, but faceless. Just now, it was the faceless who led Anbu's people away. Lu Han waved the faceless man into the space backpack, and then ran back to Konoha village. He planned to go to the ninja school to inquire about the news. He planned to go to Makoto's place at night. Originally, the reunion with Makoto was just an interlude before the official action for Lu Han. What he mainly does now is to inquire about news, about Tsunade, about Uchiha Madara. The world is very big and the sea of people is vast. If Lu Han went to Tsunade directly and didn't even have any information, then he might not be able to find it in a few months. He heard that Tsunade was hidden because she was too rich to be taken by some people. After staring at it, the so-called sharpening a knife does not cut wood by mistake, and Lu Han is not short of the time to inquire about the news in the past few days. Time flies. At night, Makoto's small courtyard. The house was full of aroma, and in the clean and tidy hall, under the candlelight, the square table was filled with all kinds of food. The dishes were plentiful, with a total of 18 dishes. Makoto moved the dressing table to the corner of the hall and sat in front of the mirror on the dressing table. She had put on a very girly pink yuhi dress, and was looking in the mirror to draw her eyebrows, sometimes in a daze, as if thinking about something happy thing, with a sweet smile on the corners of his mouth. Does it look good? Makoto turned around suddenly, made a cute gesture to the little black cat on the chair, and smiled softly. I'm a cat, I'm a cat. A cat. The little black cat couldn't remember how many times Makoto asked himself, emphasizing his identity again, I'm a cat, do you understand? Aesthetics is the same as you stupid humans. Different. You're stupid. Makoto rolled his eyes at the little black cat and looked in the mirror happily. It's beautiful. A voice with a smile suddenly sounded in another dark corner. Yeah. Makoto stood up all of a sudden, exclaimed and covered his mouth with his hand, and immediately put his hand down again, with a graceful appearance, and subconsciously stroked his hair and hung it behind his ear. Luhan walked out of the darkness, glanced at Makoto with a smile, walked to the dining table, sniffed and said, "Good fragrance, prepared for me. Today's market has a new batch of dishes, and it's cheaper than before." Makoto became more reserved. Some were not very good at speaking, and seemed a little nervous. "Ha, I believe you." Luhan smiled, and sat down without being polite. He picked up his chopsticks and said, "Let's eat. Dinner, very warm." Dressed up, Makoto is like a gentle and beautiful woman in the painting, with a soft voice and a smile on the corner of her mouth. She has both the attentiveness of a wife and the shyness of a girl, even though she is 27 years old. The first time she served Luhan with vegetables, her hands were shaking a little, but it became more natural after that. After dinner. Do you want to rest? I've boiled the water, so I can take a shower. Makoto said while picking up the tableware. His cheeks flushed Yuhi, and his heartbeat was much faster. There is a guest room here, but Makoto didn't say that Luhan would stay in the guest room. I still have something to do. Luhan got up and said. Makoto's face changed, and a deep disappointment flashed in his eyes. Rest well. Luhan blinked at Makoto, stretched out his hand and deliberately rubbed Makoto's hair in a mess, causing Makoto to be jealous, and then he left. Straight to the mountain behind Konoha. Chapter 0864 Are you waiting for someone? The wind is whistling, the trees are rustling, and in the forest under the night, countless branches of trees are swaying, like ghosts. The Tomb of Heroes is dark. This tomb group is hidden in the depths of the forest. The surrounding trees are particularly tall and can be called towering trees. The huge canopy of tens of meters in diameter is connected together, covering the Tomb of Heroes. Are still 6 Anbu ninjas guarding here. There is really no need for too many people to guard the tomb, because it is meaningless. After all, there are very few people who can rob the tomb, and those who can test the corpse are rare in the entire ninja world. And if you want to destroy the cemetery and want to discuss Konoha, it is useless to keep a legion here. The cemetery is too easy to destroy, and a few dead soldiers can do it. Therefore, the 6 Anbu ninjas are here, and the greater significance is to shock and deter. Luhan came again, and repeated his old tricks. This time, he let the faceless man take action, attacked the Konoha Anbu ninja actively, and then fled. With the faceless man's strength, it was too easy to kill all 6 of them, but he didn't. It was necessary, so when Luhan gave the faceless man an order, lead them away, wound them, and hold them back as much as possible. Anyway, it is impossible for the faceless to be killed. Even if Luhan gave him an order not to kill, he could not be killed because he was restrained. Luhan appeared in front of White Fang's tomb again. He first checked the seal to see if there were any loopholes in the seal, even if there was a gap, so that Luhan could stuff Hiraishin Kuwu in. After 3 minutes, Luhan was sure that there were no loopholes. The seal is perfect, sealing the cemetery and the coffin in it in a spherical shape. Luhan scratched his head a little, and then tried to break the seal. In fact, Luhan is also a master who has a lot of sealing techniques, but it is not advanced. Moreover, with Luhan's experience, even without the sealing skills of the master, there is still the possibility of breaking the seal. Meanwhile, Makoto's small courtyard. In the wooden house, the smell of incense permeated the entire hall. I heard the incense seller say that the incense was very refreshing. Makoto didn't want to fall asleep too early, and he didn't want to lose his demeanor because of dozing off. Luhan had something to do. Saying that he won't be back tonight, Makoto wants to wait. In front of the dressing table, Makoto had already redressed and made new hair accessories. Thinking of how Luhan had messed up his hair before, Makoto couldn't help smirking. Stupid humans, muttered the little black cat, yawning on the chair. Bastard, hum. Makoto grunted at the little black cat, then laughed again. The little black cat turned over and lay on her back, looking like she was unlovable. The owner had become a nympho, and she was worried about her future. Makoto repainted her makeup, then walked to the round table and sat down, sometimes in a daze, sometimes smirking, and sometimes frowning. Just like that, I don't know how long. Meow. The little black cat suddenly turned over and jumped up, jumping onto Makoto's shoulder. All the hair exploded, hunched over, staring at the door, as if something terrifying came from outside the door. Makoto's expression changed, and with a flick of his wrist, he gripped Kunai back. Vigilant little guy. A cold voice sounded outside the door, paused and then said, "Can I go in?" Makoto knew this voice, although she was very unfamiliar with this person and seemed to have never spoken, but she knew that this person would not hurt herself, or that he would not hurt anyone, but his temper was too cold. "Yes, is that Orochimaru-sama?" Makoto said with relief. "It's me," Orochimaru said. "Come in." Makoto put away the kunai, and the hair that exploded on the little black cat, but her eyes were still very vigilant. Of course she knew Orochimaru, the overall gloomy guy. Orochimaru pushed the door into the room and Makoto saluted him. Seeing the situation inside the house, Orochimaru couldn't help but be taken aback. There were 8 trays of cakes on the table, and incense was lit. Uchiha Makoto was dressed in a dress, with a charming appearance. We all know that because of his discredited reputation, Uchiha Makoto became more withdrawn, depressed and haggard. Why did he suddenly change? I don't know Orochimaru's sudden visit because. Uchiha Makoto asked. Are you waiting for someone? Orochimaru stared at Makoto, frowning slightly. In the evening, put on makeup, light up incense and put on supper cakes. What are you waiting for? Master Orochimaru, this seems to be my personal matter. Uchiha Makoto was nervous, but on the surface he acted very well and spoke in a decent manner. Who are you waiting for? Orochimaru demanded. Makoto frowned. Why is Orochimaru-sama so strange today? It was very strange indeed. It was a strange thing for Orochimaru to visit, and it was even more strange to ask who was waiting. Makoto didn't understand Orochimaru's mind, and Orochimaru naturally wouldn't tell her what she was thinking. Lord Orochimaru, it's getting late. If there's something going on, tomorrow, Makoto's eyes widened suddenly. Because Orochimaru flashed in front of her, he grabbed her neck with one hand, and the black curse crawled out from Orochimaru's hand like a snake, and quickly extended along Makoto's neck. The little black cat jumped up, and before Kiba's grin got bigger, Orochimaru used the other hand to directly kick it out. Back Mountain Forest. The Insight map shows that the Anbu team has already received the news. Within 2 kilometers of entering the Tomb of Heroes, the Faceless Man is still strictly carrying out Luhan's orders, delaying the 6 people, but Luhan's time is still running out. As more and more Konoha ninjas come to support, someone will definitely come to the Tomb of Heroes. After all, the Faceless Man alone cannot hold everyone back. Luhan still hadn't cracked the seal on White Fang's tomb. The crack he wanted was a silent crack, not a brute force one, because he wanted to steal the body quietly, otherwise it wouldn't be so troublesome. Luhan even used Chenkin Shift to reverse the seal, but to no avail. It's really, forget it, forget White Fang's body, who would have thought it was me? Luhan gave up, he gave up cracking, not tomb robbing. Luhan took out the Hiraishin Kunai, the blessing of physical magic, and threw it out fiercely. Boom _ The seal was broken, causing a thunderous roar. Chapter-865 Where is Orochimaru? The roar from the Tomb of Heroes made all the nearby Konoha ninjas realize that they had been fooled. They left behind the mysterious Faceless Man and rushed towards the Tomb of Heroes. When the Konoha Anbu ninjas came to the Tomb of Heroes, they were all stunned. There is one less grave in the hero's tomb, and one more pit. White Fang's tomb is lost. Not that White Fang's body was stolen, but that the coffin, tombstone, and the bricks and soil on it were all gone, leaving a big pit at that location. Chase. You go over there. I'm going to notify Hokage-sama. Anbu ninja who reacted scattered away, and the light of the torches lit up near the hero's tomb, more and more. Sarutobi Hiruzen is in a bad mood recently, the frontline battle is unfavorable, Konoha is already likely to be defeated, and people in the village are disappearing frequently. It is very likely that his most important disciple did it. Recently, a fake cold light ninja appeared. And when Sarutobi Hiruzen knew there was something wrong with the Tomb of Heroes, his face was even more ugly as if he had eaten shit. More than 10 minutes after the incident at the Tomb of Heroes, Sarutobi Hiruzen came to the back mountain. Kaharu Udatane, Homura Mitokado and others also arrived. There was an accident in the Tomb of Heroes. Being razed to the ground is not a loss, but it's Konoha's face in a big way. The destruction of the hero's tomb is equivalent to the digging of the ancestral graves of ordinary people. Deep in the forest, torches gathered, and more than 100 Konoha ninjas gathered in front of the Tomb of Heroes, led by Sarutobi Hiruzen. White Fang's tomb. How could it be White Fang's tomb? Lord Hangguang. Kaharu Udatane felt that something was wrong, and after a few words, he felt even more wrong. What Konoha is most worried about is the theft of Hangguang's tomb, because Hangguang has two types of Kekkei Genkei, Sharingan and Shikatsumyaku Dead Bone Pulse, as well as a huge chakra. For a sorcerer who is proficient in sorcery, it is a treasure. For this, Konoha has always been closely guarded, a grave of cold light, and even S-rank ninjutsu cannot be broken in a short period of time. Kaharu Udatane felt that even if someone came to rob the tomb, it was the one who robbed the cold light, not the White Fang. She felt it was wrong to say this because it was disrespectful. This tomb robbery can be described as daring, seeing the coffins and tombstones are taken away, leaving nothing. I have never seen such a tomb robbery, too cruel. Bring the garrison over here, check it out for me. Damn it. Sarutobi Hiruzen was furious, he was about to be mad. Someone digs up Konoha's ancestral grave, and when this news spreads, the whole ninja world has to laugh at Konoha. There is no real loss in being laughed at, but, face. Konoha wants a face. This is hitting Konoha in the face. In fact, Sarutobi Hiruzen is also very puzzled. What is the use of stealing White Fang's body? There is nothing special about White Fang, there is no Kekkei Genkei, his strength is completely based on his talent and hard work, his body is worthless for research. It seems that there is only one explanation left. Alas! A sigh sounded from the side. Sarutobi Hiruzen glanced at him and saw that it was his own direct disciple, Jiraiya. Jiraiya and White Fang were the same generation and had always been friends. When White Fang died, Jiraiya shed tears in private. Jiraiya was lamenting the ill-fated fate of White Fang, even in death, Sarutobi Hiruzen's heart moved. Where's Orochimaru? Sarutobi Hiruzen asked with a frown. Jiraiya looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen, her eyes a little blank. Orochimaru did not come. Such an important matter, Orochimaru will definitely get news, but he didn't come. Sarutobi Hiruzen's face became even more gloomy, and he already had a guess in his heart that White Fang's body was really useless, but if it was in Orochimaru's hands. Makoto's courtyard, in a dark wooden house. Luhan appeared out of thin air, his brows furrowed, and his insight map showed that there was no one in the yard, which was strange. What was Makoto doing at night? Could it be that Uchiha Kaien was looking for it? The possibility is very small, because Kaien came during the day. Luhan lit the candlestick. He didn't think Uchiha Makoto had an accident, so he planned to wait for Makoto to come back. When Luhan walked to the round table in the hall with the candlestick, his face changed. On the round table was a white piece of paper with words written on it. It was a letter. Shang Yin, when you read this letter, I may have been far away. I admit that I am not a strong person. I am tired, really tired. escaping is not the solution to the problem, but for me, it's the only way out. I think you understand the grievances in my heart. Konoha is no longer my home. I'm gone. Don't look for me. By the way, please tell Fugaku, I'm not a traitor. I'm not missing Nin. I just go. Makoto stay. Makoto left Konoha. She can't stand gossip, can't stand cold-eyed abuse, so she decides to run away and leave Konoha. If it had happened just a day ago, no one would have doubted that Makoto was indeed strong enough not to commit suicide. She decided to leave, and left a letter to Uchiha Keion, who had the best relationship, so reasonable. However, when Luhan came back, this could never happen. Handwriting was indeed Uchiha Makoto's. Luhan recognized it. But this does not indicate identity. For ninjas, it is very simple to imitate a person's handwriting. After all, ninjas can easily become another person. What happened? Luhan's face was very ugly. If Makoto didn't run away, then this letter can only be left by the person who took Makoto. Makoto had an accident. Damn it. Luhan took the letter into his arms, and then searched the entire wooden house, but found no clues. Makoto was gone, and the little black cat was gone. Luhan was extremely anxious in his heart, and flashed around the house, then ran to the yard again, and stopped suddenly. He thought of a way. Makoto, I want to save Makoto and judge her as my teammate. Luhan closed his eyes, repeated this sentence in his heart, and then opened his eyes. On the insight map, there is a blue dot 3 kilometers northwest, and there is a big Yuhi dot on the side. Konoha's level independent mission ninja, level 60 gold boss, Orochimaru. Chapter 0866 Orochimaru in Konoha 47. Luhan's expression was stunned. He felt that his brain circuits were not enough. Orochimaru. Orochimaru captured Uchiha Makoto, also arranged a fake scene where Makoto ran away from home. Why? Luhan blinked, then looked horrified. He thought of it. Damn test, damn test. Luhan clenched his fists, dodged and disappeared, and approached Orochimaru at a high speed. He was afraid that he would be late, and Orochimaru had dug out Makoto's eyes for research. Original work. There is no plot of Orochimaru taking Uchiha Makoto away for testing. That is because Makoto is Fugaku's wife in the original work, the wife of the Uchiha clan chief, and is considered a big man in Konoha. That kind of people. In this world, Makoto did not marry Fugaku, and became a marginal person of the Uchiha clan, and even moved out of the Uchiha clan's mansion to live alone and lived alone, and Makoto's encounter provided Orochimaru with a very good opportunity to live alone. In Makoto's case, she really left Konoha, and it is estimated that no one will track it down. Orochimaru does it almost flawlessly. If there is no Luhan, except for some people who are sad for Makoto's departure, I am afraid that no one will go to find someone. Luhan's heart was beating suddenly. How could it be so coincidental? If he hadn't contacted Makoto today, as long as he found Makoto a day later and Makoto ran away, he probably wouldn't doubt it. However, what Luhan didn't know was that Orochimaru suddenly attacked Makoto and had a very close relationship with Luhan. This is no coincidence at all. Problem was Namikaze Minato. When Namikaze Minato reported the situation to Sarutobi Hiruzen focused on Hiraishin's leak. Sarutobi Hiruzen suspected Orochimaru, and asked Orochimaru for questioning. Just because of this question, Orochimaru feels the crisis. He knew that he was not far from the incident, and the time was running out, so he accelerated his experiments. After all, once he became a Konoha missing nin, it would not be so convenient. Orochimaru had planned to experiment with Uchiha Makoto, but not recently, but in a few months. He's ahead of schedule this time. The two-story stone building hidden in the dense woods, the roof, walls, and windows are covered with yellow vines. The door of the stone building is hung with chains and rusted Madara. It looks like an old house that has been abandoned for a long time. Luhan appeared by the woods outside the stone building. The insight map shows that the blue dot Uchiha Makoto, who is judged to be teammate Blue, is in the stone building, and the big Yuhi. Orochimaru is naturally also. The identification of enemy and friend has played an extraordinary role today. At that time, Luhan was also holding a bet. The mentality of gambling, after all, if Makoto hadn't been kidnapped and taken away, but Luhan was thinking of saving people, a conflict would have formed, so that the decision that Makoto had become a blue dot would not have been formed. The stone building is not high, but it is very large, like a flat square box crawling in the woods. This stone building looks like 2 floors from the outside, and the windows are 2 floors, but it is actually 1 floor. This is a 2-story warehouse. The warehouse is full of dust and many old machines are piled up, all of which are the first generation of power generation. Since the second generation of generators was developed in Sunagakure village, these bulky big guys have been eliminated. A piece of dusty ground was swept out, and there was a circular curse seal array with a diameter of 3 meters on the clean ground. This was a very simple isolation seal array. The isolation formation, Orochimaru squatted on the ground and was applying more seals to the black cat that had passed out. The unconscious Uchiha Makoto was lying on the side, with tadpole-like curse marks on his arms and face. There were 2 small buckets beside Orochimaru. Orochimaru wanted to seal the little black cat and Makoto, and put them in the bucket. This is the improved sealing technique he recently researched. Konoha quietly with a big living person on his back. It is easy to be found. Neither Uchiha nor Hyuga ninja are vegetarians. His laboratory is built outside the village of Konoha, so every time he catches when people take people out, they will first put them in the bucket, which is convenient, and even if they are seen, the person who sees them will not know what is in the bucket. The little black cat is also a good test subject for Orochimaru. After all, there are not many Konohas of this advanced intelligent ninja beast. Among the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Makoto is not the only one who suffers misfortune, but Orochimaru still chooses Makoto who may cause trouble, because the little black cat is Makoto's ninja beast. Orochimaru turned his head slightly as if he suddenly felt something. Kai, 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 kai. The sound of kunai's burst shot suddenly sounded, but it came from the opposite direction. Orochimaru was enveloped in a terrifying sense of crisis. Orochimaru's reaction was not slow. When his waist twisted, he turned into a black shadow and escaped in a thrilling way. Kunai shot. Orochimaru jumped out of the range of the isolation formation, his body just landed on the big machine. Danger appeared behind him again, and the knife light set off a thunderous hiss. Orochimaru kept dodging, and finally turned around to see who was attacking him. A thin figure with his entire body wrapped in black robes. Luhan appeared next to Makoto out of thin air and checked Makoto's condition. He was relieved, and there was nothing wrong. Except for the seal on his body, Luhan checked the condition of the little black cat, but he was injured internally, but he couldn't die. Orochimaru broke the window and escaped from the warehouse, and the faceless chased him out. Luhan took Makoto and the little black cat and followed him out. At this time, Orochimaru's strength was judged to be a 60-level golden boss. In the original book, his strength at this period should be the same, not too much. In the original book, the Orochimaru of Konoha's 60th year is much stronger than the Orochimaru of Konoha's 47th year. At that time Orochimaru had Master Impure World Reincarnation and many Konoha mysteries, and Orochimaru of Konoha 47 years, still lacked. In fact, with Orochimaru's talent, at the age of 37, it is not a problem for him to enter the 70th class. But he is not doing his job. Since the Second Ninja World War, he has put his experience in the forbidden technique research involving life and death, but the real practice has been delayed a lot. Chapter 0867-Snake Tide. Orochimaru is fleeing to the village. In fact, he has the ability to defeat or even kill the Faceless. The two have the same strength rating. Although the Faceless has a very terrible fighting consciousness, he is the top level 60 gold boss, but Orochimaru is a very special existence. Just like water can put out a fire, the same level is good at sweetened water-style ninjas can press the fights, good at Kaden fire style, master Orochimaru of many forbidden techniques, to deal with speed-type grandmaster swordsmanship ninjas like faceless people, it is with restraint. However, Orochimaru chose to run away. Because this is Konoha village. Orochimaru did something wrong, he didn't even know who the faceless man was. Once the two fought head-to-head and made a big noise in the village, what would the faceless man say? Orochimaru's arrest of Uchiha Makoto would be revealed, and he would have no other way but to defect. Therefore, no matter who those two are, for Orochimaru, escape from Konoha village first. If those two were from Sarutobi Hiruzen, naturally they had to run. If they are not, they must escape from the village and find a way to kill them in a place where no one is there. Orochimaru ran frantically to the outside of Konoha village, with extremely fast speed and secret whereabouts. After the faceless man left the warehouse, he slowed down and followed Orochimaru, but did not try to stop him, because the faceless man got the land. Han's order, Luhan's idea is also, go outside the village first. He had already calculated Orochimaru's heart. Unless Orochimaru has the strength to quickly kill the faceless, he will dare to fight the faceless in the village of Konoha. But he doesn't. The rules restrict that the faceless man must be on the same battlefield as Luhan, so the faceless man chases and kills. Luhan has to follow behind, he has to take care of Uchiha Makoto, and he cannot leave the unconscious and sealed Uchiha Makoto behind. Konoha village where Orochimaru and the faceless man go first. Luhan followed closely, he had an insight map, and his speed was outrageous, so even if he ran with Makoto in his arms, Konoha wouldn't miss the patrolling ninja. Enter the vast forest from the north of Konoha village. Orochimaru's face was gloomy and cold, and while his body was moving fast in the forest, he twisted and twisted, like a snake. As if he was about to show his true shape, he ran for another 20 kilometers. The faceless man finally exerted his strength and stopped Orochimaru. The two began to fight. Luhan gave him the order to leave the village 20 kilometers and kill Orochimaru. There is no particular reason, not for punishing evil and promoting good, but for Uchiha Makoto, Orochimaru has been blackened, and Luhan's previous friendship with Orochimaru, which was maintained because of Tsunade, can't be climbed. In the forest under the moon, flying sand and rocks, strong winds, roars and explosions, and groups of snakes dance wildly, with soaring curse marks. Orochimaru is too evil, and Luhan was afraid that the faceless man would not be his opponent, so he released the barbarian shield soldiers from the space backpack, and let Faceless and A-Man besiege Orochimaru. During World War II, after Luhan obtained the barbarian shield soldier, the sword and shield duo made 2 shots in total. One was to smash a Megakure and the other was to block Uchiha Madara. In a Megakure village, they were killed. Therefore, it is impossible for Orochimaru to know the sword and shield duo at all. Orochimaru started running again. 2 against 1, Orochimaru can't beat it. The sword and shield duo chased down Orochimaru. Luhan was still following behind, the little black cat the size of his palm was in his pocket, and Uchiha Makoto was in his arms. The left eye Eternal Mangekyo spins rapidly. Time and space tied. Forcibly breaking the seal may hurt Makoto, so Luhan intends to let Makoto go back to the past, and return to the state before being sealed. This is not difficult for Luhan, but it will take some time. Anyway, the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan is never bad. 60 kilometers northwest of Konoha village, there is an unnamed valley where the mountain is not high and the trees are ordinary. Boom _ Yuhi's name sounded in the forest outside the valley, the smoke and dust shot up 100 meters, and the strong wind tore the towering giant trees. Orochimaru escaped the dangerous attack and fled into the nameless valley, followed by the sword and shield duo. Luhan finally arrived, but stopped on the low mountain, holding Makoto and continuing to cast the tide of time and space. Hey, Orochimaru, who had escaped all the way, showed a gloomy smile after entering the valley. He had already determined that these people were not from Sarutobi Hiruzen, they were not Konoha ninjas at all. This is easy to do, kill them all and everything will be fine. Ninja technique of snake tide. Orochimaru, who was running wildly, suddenly rushed to the sky, hand seal turned around, and shot a dozen small snakes from his sleeves, all of which were like small cannonballs, bombarding the valley. Rumbling, rumbling. The ground in the valley cracked, and the mountain wall collapsed, followed by countless hissing sounds: white snakes, black snakes, green snakes, flower snakes, double-headed snakes, giant pythons. Hundreds of thousands of snakes collapsed from the collapse. He got out of the hole in the ground and launched a tragic attack on the faceless man and the barbarian shield soldiers. The attack methods of this group of snakes are all kinds of strange. Some are spit thunder, some are biting, some are petrified impact, but most of them are spitting acid, high-strength corrosive acid. Acid attacks are often more terrifying than flames, and many are of fine quality. The metal sword is not afraid of fire, but it can't hold the acid, and it will easily corrode into a scrap iron rod. The sword and shield duo are under siege and look precarious. Too many snakes. In the ninja world, both ninjas and puppets have the characteristics of high attack and low defense. Just like a genin can spit out the flames of burning rocks, but he can't use his body to defend against such flames, he can only hide. Of course, there are also ninjas who are good at defense, but that is a minority after all. Snakes are like tides, and the savage shield soldiers are trying their best to protect the faceless people who are not good at defense, but it seems that they are going to be unable to hold on. This technique. Lu Han was also shocked. This technique is simply pervert. It is estimated that 10 consecutive S-rank group attack ninjutsu releases may not be able to kill all these snakes. How can there be so many? No, Lu Han suddenly reacted. No, this is not ninjutsu, these snakes are real snakes. This is a snake cave. Just then, Uchiha Makoto woke up, making a painful nasal sound. Chapter-861 Orochimaru's shock. Makoto wakes up, but the seal on her body is still there. Her coma has nothing to do with the seal, she was knocked unconscious by Orochimaru. The group of snakes danced wildly, the blood was thick, and on the cliff, Uchiha Makoto woke up in Lu Han's arms, and at a glance, he saw the cold black face and the divine eyes behind the hole in the mask. Han. Makoto recognized Lu Han at first sight. Don't move. Lu Han looked at Uchiha Makoto, his left eye Mangekyo spun rapidly again, and after only 10 seconds, Makoto finally returned to the state before being sealed. It is worth mentioning that although the temporal tide of the pupil technique can make people go back to the past, it will not affect people's memory. Memory is a problem at the soul level, not a physical problem. Although Makoto recovered to the moment when Orochimaru grabbed her neck, she still remembered what happened. Wait for me here, be careful. Lu Han said softly, took out a big sword and stuffed it into Makoto's hand. Lu Han is going to fight in person. This is a snake cave, and I don't know how many snakes there are underground. If you think about it, this should be a trap set by Orochimaru. He has already prepared it. Of course, this trap is definitely not prepared for Lu Han, but for Sarutobi Hiruzen. Orochimaru knows that something has happened. One day, at that time, he will inevitably flee and be hunted down. The arrangement here is the basis for Orochimaru to escape. Speaking of which, the hordes of snakes in this unnamed valley are strong enough to destroy a legion. However, even Orochimaru cannot control so many snakes at the same time. He cannot lead the snakes to fight everywhere. People must also be lured here in order to use those hundreds of thousands of snakes to bury the enemy. It is also easy to crack this trap, just get around here. In the valley, 7 huge pythons gathered around Orochimaru. These pythons were on their backs, and they were 5 or 6 stories high. Orochimaru was protected among them and looked very small. Die! Orochimaru's face showed bloodthirsty excitement. Although the faceless man and the brutal shield soldier had killed tens of thousands of snakes in a short period of time, they were too stretched to cope. Up is to die. It is worth it to kill these 2 powerful guys, even if it kills 100,000 snakes. Orochimaru quickly turned his eyes away. He didn't need to pay too much attention to the two people who were about to die. He looked at the low mountain at the other end of the valley, on the edge of the cliff. Uchiha Makoto had just woken up. And then, Orochimaru glanced at the two people on the mountain, and then disappeared. For Orochimaru, he must kill everyone today, or he will have to defect from Konoha if word of his kidnapping of Uchiha Makoto spreads. Although I don't know the strength of the masked man beside Uchiha Makoto, Orochimaru thinks that he can kill. He has this kind of confidence. After all, there are only so many ninjas in the entire ninja world that are stronger than him, so they won't have such bad luck, right? Is it better to kill anyone than yourself? Luhan gave Makoto to leave her alone on the mountain. Makoto is Jonin no matter what, and the strength is there. It is impossible for the snakes to rush out of the valley to attack her. The only thing that can threaten her here is Orochimaru, and Luhan is going to find her. Orochimaru. If there is danger, run towards Konoha, and I'll be by your side in time. Luhan gave Makoto a few more kunai. At this time. Ding. Remind the subversive 3665 that the savage shield soldiers have been killed, and the cooling time of resurrection is 24 hours. Luhan frowned and looked back into the valley. In order to protect the faceless man from harm, the savage shield soldiers had already died, and the faceless man was surrounded. Luhan immediately took out a Hiraishin and placed it in Makoto's hand. Then flashed away. Man also has Luhan's Hiraishin kunai. Luhan flickered beside the faceless man, grabbed the faceless man's arm, swung the arm round and threw the faceless man out, and the faceless man flew towards Uchiha Makoto like a cannonball. Luhan disappeared again and appeared beside Makoto again. Kai _ The knife light suddenly appeared in the darkness, and the moment Luhan appeared beside Makoto, danger came. Luhan retaliated with a knife, blocking Kue who was slicing across, and Orochimaru's expression changed when he couldn't make a sneak attack. He didn't expect Luhan's reaction to be so quick. Faceless, protect Uchiha Makoto. Luhan shouted in a low voice, and immediately launched a hunt for Orochimaru. The faceless man who was thrown over turned around and stabilized his body as he approached the cliff, and then flashed behind Uchiha Makoto, motionless with his knife in hand. Orochimaru waved Kuu and stepped back again and again. After connecting with Luhan's 7 knives, he reached out with his left hand, and a black light erupted from his palm. Several chains of curse seals shot out from the black light, hitting Luhan like a snake. Move the world. Luhan directly activated the Mangekyo pupil technique in his right eye. Orochimaru, who had a cold and unhappy temperament, was extremely shocked at this moment. He finally noticed, or saw clearly Luhan's Mangekyo. The lines of Mangekyo belonged to the cold light. The several curse print chains that were attacking Luhan hit Orochimaru like whips, and Orochimaru's body suddenly became dull, and Luhan's sword was like rain, bombarding him. Bang _ The white smoke rose, the huge python and Orochimaru switched places. The python appeared, and it was torn into blood mist by Luhan's knife light, and Orochimaru appeared in the snake group in the valley at the same time. His whole body it was full of black curse marks, and his body was stiff and his movements were slow. Orochimaru took 2 seconds to complete the hand seal, and then hit himself with the black light that appeared from his hand. The curse marks on the body are gone. He can naturally understand his technique. Luhan rushed into the valley, his whole body exploded with blood mist, and he entered a state of anger. His whole body turned into a blood-colored thunder. Facing the siege of the snake group, he broke out a bloody path and approached Orochimaru almost non-stop. The snake tide in the valley has the fighting power to destroy a legion. The faceless man and the barbarian shield soldiers can't bear it, but to Luhan, it's nothing. After all, snakes are just snakes, not people. With Luhan's strength, even if they rush in, it is not a problem for a ninja army to kill the past abruptly, not to mention that this group of snakes does not have the cooperative consciousness of ninjas. Blood fog, Hiraishin, Mangekyo, cold light. Orochimaru was already stunned. Chapter 0869 _ Dragon and Snake Technique. happened that Orochimaru couldn't understand, because the ninja rushing to kill him right in front of his eyes was too much like the legend that had been dead for 10 years. Has someone resurrected Hangwang? Orochimaru's eyes suddenly lit up, with a frenzy in his eyes, or, someone has used Hangwang's cells to gain the ability of Hangwang. Orochimaru's thinking is weird. It is impossible for others to believe that the cold light that has been dead for 10 years will be resurrected, but Orochimaru does not think so. This is what he studies. About life and death, about resurrection, about immortality. Only those who have studied all of this understand that these are not impossible. Who has this ability? Who resurrected the cold light? The frenzy in Orochimaru's eyes became stronger and stronger. At this time, his state was as if a treasure hunter had discovered a treasure, as if the emperor had obtained the elixir of immortality. No one can understand Orochimaru's mood at the moment. Hangwang is dead. Is he alive again? If so, Orochimaru would love to know how Hangwang was resurrected. Luhan rushed all the way, and soon came to the vicinity of Orochimaru. There were golden lights bursting from time to time along the way. Killing some ninja beasts with sufficient strength will also drop them. Ingots and psychic badges. This is not the impure world reincarnation. Who is controlling him? Orochimaru guessed in his heart, but his hand was unequivocal, and he quickly hand-sealed, Ninfa, Dragon and Snakeheart. A terrifying aura that pierced through the sky erupted from Orochimaru. Rumbling. There was an earthquake in the valley, and a group of snakes were quickly entangled together, and blood-colored rays of light erupted on their bodies. Every 100,000 snakes of different sizes, combined together, became a blood-colored giant python the size of a tailed beast. A total of 7 blood-colored giant snakes appeared, and the 7 blood-colored snakes formed by gathering 700,000 snakes exuded an extremely terrifying aura. This is Orochimaru Master's strongest forbidden technique. And this forbidden technique, he will have no chance to use it after today, because there are not so many qualified snakes in the world. But it took Orochimaru 10 years to travel all over the ninja world to find these nearly 1 million snakes. Snakes with sufficient attack power are basically ninja snakes. He drove these snakes to this valley, and nurtured them with secret techniques in case they were needed. Today's forbidden technique, these snakes are almost dead. If the ninja world wants to have so many ninja snakes, if it is to reproduce naturally, it will take decades. In other words, the strongest forbidden technique launched by Orochimaru today is a one-off. Hangwang. Show your skills. Are you Hangwang? Are you? After Orochimaru launched the forbidden technique, he ducked far away. The sole purpose of his decisive launch of the strongest forbidden technique was not to kill Luhan, but want to force Luhan to show his full strength. Only Luhan can do his best. Orochimaru can know if this is cold light. Fuck me. Luhan was also a little confused. Who would have thought Orochimaru was so fierce? He was able to launch such a big move, which is not in line with his strength level at all. But from another Kakuzu, the judgment is correct. Orochimaru launched this forbidden technique, with the help of foreign objects, offering Matsuri 100,000 ninjas. This is like a child with no strength. He can still detonate the explosives piled up with torches, and the power is terrifying. The huge blood snake that appeared beside Orochimaru rushed towards Luhan. Luhan went up and tried it. He attacked the huge blood snake with swordsmanship. Although he could cut off a lot of flesh and blood from the blood snake every time, the blood snake was too big. It didn't affect a little bit of meat at a time. The blood snake seemed to feel it. Without pain, he completely ignored Luhan's attack. The bloody mouth almost swallowed Luhan. Luhan smelled the pungent sour odor, and there was corrosive acid in the mouth of the blood snake. If Luhan was really swallowed, he would be corroded by the acid into slag. The other 6 blood-colored giant snakes quickly approached Luhan. On the cliff in the distance, Uchiha Makoto screamed. Boom _. A blue light suddenly erupted from Luhan's body, and the terrifying chakra fluctuations enveloped the valley. The blue light jumped hundreds of meters high and quickly formed. Susanoo, much larger than the blood snake, appeared. The huge Susanoo grabbed a blood snake, threw the blood snake out as a whip, and bombarded another giant snake, but it didn't break it. Luhan rushed behind a blood snake and swept its tail towards Luhan. Han, with the sound of thunder, knocked Susanoo out abruptly. Luhan began to fight with 6 blood snakes. These 6 blood snakes are as big as tailed beasts, but their combat power is not as good as that of tailed beasts. The tailed beasts are wise and have a fighting consciousness, but these 6 blood snakes fight like puppets. They fight in a random way, and they attack very well. Rough, mostly dominated by bite and impact, and sometimes sprayed with high-concentration corrosive acid. If it were really 6-tailed beasts, Luhan would not be able to beat them. 6 blood snakes, Luhan is easy to kill them, but it takes some time. The attack power of these blood snakes cannot defeat Luhan's Susanoo. Fight for a few minutes. The huge sickle was swung, causing a gust of wind in the valley. On the first day, when the bloody snake was cut into 8 pieces by Luhan, the scale of victory fell to Luhan. When Luhan killed the 4th bloody snake, the Susanoo on him is also broken. A single attack from the blood snake could not break Susanoo anyway, but the acid corrosion was terrible. Susanoo had endured at least 20 acid corrosions and finally collapsed. Luhan has entered the Raiden Thunder style chakra mode again. Orochimaru hid in the corner of the valley, his eyes getting brighter and turning into 2 light bulbs. Hangwang. Cold light. Cold light. He is cold light. Orochimaru finally determined that it was not someone who experimented with cold light cells and let someone get the ability of cold light, absolutely not. Because although the ability can be copied, the fighting style cannot be copied. Everyone's fighting thinking is different, so this person must be really cold. Cold light is back. Ninja snake solution. Orochimaru suddenly hand seal. The remaining 2 blood snakes that were about to be killed by Luhan suddenly stopped moving, like sculptures, and then collapsed one by one into 2 mountains of snake flesh and blood. Huh. Luhan frowned and turned to stare at Orochimaru. Lord Hangwang, I think we can talk. Orochimaru said loudly. Chapter 0870-Vanishing Malice. The bloody smell in the valley was as pungent as some kind of chemical gas. Blood was everywhere. Snake corpses were everywhere. Luhan was surrounded by thunder and lightning, standing in the sea of blood on Snake Mountain, staring at Orochimaru. Talk. What to talk about with this guy with the name Yuhi? Luhan didn't plan to let Orochimaru leave here alive today. Luhan just paused for a moment, then turned into a blue thunder again, and then he arrived in front of Orochimaru, the sword light like rain. Orochimaru's pupils contracted violently, while Hand Seal retreated and dodged. Several giant snakes sprang from the ground in front of Orochimaru. This time, it was not a real snake, but Orochimaru's art. Luhan hacked them all to death with 2 swords, and hunted down Orochimaru. Lord Hangwang, we don't seem to have hatred. I admit that I am not your opponent, I don't know it is you, and I have no intention of becoming your enemy. It's been 10 years, I don't know when you were resurrected, but I know, you don't know a lot of things, you miss a lot. Maybe we can talk. Orochimaru reasoned with Luhan while fleeing. In fact, Orochimaru is not a reasonable person, otherwise he would not kill innocent people for his own selfish desires, but unfortunately he can't beat Luhan. If he is stronger than Luhan, then it is not with him Luhan reasoned, but grabbed Luhan and pressed him about the method of resurrection. Orochimaru is not a nice guy. Rather wicked. However, Orochimaru is a prodigal son, and he is a prodigal son in the original book. However, Luhan couldn't wait for the day when Orochimaru's prodigal son returned. Chasing Orochimaru all the way, Orochimaru never ran out of the valley. The valley is very big. He was in the circle with Luhan Kabuto. There are still some snakes in this valley, underground. This is Orochimaru's last trump card. If it really is with Luhan, if there is no talk, then he will have to rely on these snakes to escape. Kai. Hiraishin Kuwu hit behind Orochimaru, and Luhan followed, and the sword was like thunder. Orochimaru can't escape. He has used too many methods. The life-saving forbidden technique cannot be used endlessly again and again. Black light and white light erupted on Orochimaru's body at the same time, and the black curse imprint flew out from Orochimaru's back, forming a floating circular curse imprint array. At the same time, white scales appeared on Orochimaru's body, and thick horny wrapped him. Boom! The incantation formation was shattered by Luhan's knife, and its strength was 80%. The knife hit Orochimaru on the back again, but it didn't cut off his scale defense, but it also knocked him out, and Orochimaru flew into the air to donate blood. Luhan's figure flashed and he approached Orochimaru again. Orochimaru hit the mountain wall, sending up a lot of smoke and dust, obscuring Luhan's vision. Luhan suddenly felt a strong crisis, coming from the smoke. He never underestimated Orochimaru. If Orochimaru really fought with Luhan, even if he died, he would be able to inflict heavy damage on Luhan before he died. Approaching the smoke, Luhan subconsciously slowed down. Lord Hangguang, don't you want to know how White Fang died? Orochimaru's hoarse scream sounded in the smoke. Luhan's heart fluttered, and he stopped outside the smoke and dust, staring at the smoke. Orochimaru was inside. The insight map showed that Orochimaru didn't escape while the smoke and dust. The wind blew through the valley, carrying away the thick bloody smell, and the smoke gradually dissipated, revealing Orochimaru's figure. The blood-covered Orochimaru stood under the mountain wall, and his body was a little rickety. He was seriously injured. Behind Orochimaru was the collapsed mountain wall. There were 2 dark holes next to the mountain wall, and more snakes came from the holes. Climb out and gather around Orochimaru. Among them, there are 2 big snakes with Madara colors that are particularly eye-catching. They are no more than 10 meters long, and they seem to be highly poisonous. Can we talk? Orochimaru stared into Luhan's eyes. His pale face was whiter than ever. What's there to talk about? You know, I can feel your malice. You must be thinking about how to lie to me, how to kill me. Do we really need to talk? Luhan said calmly. It's really you. Orochimaru is finally completely sure. All kinds of guesses, no matter how reasonable the reasoning is, there is no truth to what Luhan said at this moment. It is cold light. Why do you insist on killing me? Orochimaru asked. You don't die, Uchiha Makoto is the one who dies. I can't protect her all the time, and you will definitely kill people. I can't give you a chance, so. Luhan's voice was flat. Damn you. Orochimaru froze for a moment, then blinked. Just because of this. Orochimaru is a little unacceptable. No matter how we say it, we have some friendship. We used to kill the enemy side by side in the past, and there is also a relationship due to Tsunade, so why? Orochimaru began to re-examine Uchiha Makoto's position in Han Guang's heart, and he was also re-examining his own position in Han Guang's heart. In Orochimaru's view, Uchiha Makoto is just a small, irrelevant person. However, Orochimaru didn't know. Luhan only said part of the reason, and the other part couldn't be said, about the original book. Luhan really didn't have the patience to wait for Orochimaru's prodigal son to come back. Kill clean. If Luhan's murderous aura was substantial, it seemed that it would explode at any time. White Fang's death, do you want to know? Orochimaru spoke quickly, and hurried to find a topic. Want to know, but I don't believe you. Lies mean nothing to me. Luhan really doesn't believe Orochimaru. Who can prove that what Orochimaru said is true? This guy is Yuhi. We are not enemies. I can feel your malice. Malicious. Orochimaru seemed to realize something. Looking at Luhan, the whole person became calm, even his breathing slowed down, and Luhan's eyes gradually widened. Orochimaru becomes an orange name. What the hell? How did he do it? The system will never go wrong, because it has never been missed. Orochimaru can change when he says he wants to, and let go of his malice when he says it is. Did he hypnotize himself, or did he have a terrible psychological quality that could adjust his thoughts at will? Interesting, Luhan said in a low voice, throwing away the blood on the knife, but didn't put it away. Do you want to know the cause of White Fang's death. Orochimaru asked again. He knew Lu Han's mind. After all, 10 years ago, Han Guang and White Fang were close friends. Speak. Lu Han sighed. Chapter 0871 _ The Truth. Lu Han has already stolen White Fang's body, but if he wants to resurrect White Fang, it will take several months, and the resurrection may fail. Therefore, if he can really know the cause of White Fang's death from Orochimaru's mouth, Lu Han will naturally willing to listen. No matter how Orochimaru changed his mind, the system judged that it would not lie. As long as he is not Yuhi's name, the credibility of what he said is very high. Can I ask you a question first? Orochimaru asked. Lu Han replied with a nasal voice. Who else knew that you were resurrected? Orochimaru asked. This sentence was very skillful. A simple question could make Orochimaru understand Lu Han's identity and position after being resurrected. Makoto. Lu Han said 2 words. Only Uchiha Makoto knew that the others all thought that someone was impersonating the cold light. Orochimaru's heart is set. He was worried about was that Lu Han had already been in contact with Sarutobi Hiruzen and others. In this case, what Orochimaru said might turn out to be a lie when he arrived at Sarutobi Hiruzen. Sarutobi Hiruzen knew that Han Guang was resurrected, and he would definitely take precautions and make arrangements. White Fang did commit suicide. He couldn't stand the humiliation. Lord Hokage scolded him. The whole Konoha public opinion was extremely unfavorable to him. Even some Anbu ninjas secretly said that he was not. He failed in his mission and exposed Konoha. His intentions caused a great diplomatic crisis, so the fault was all attributed to him. White Fang is a very proud person. He is not vulnerable, but when someone told him that he was immortal, it was not enough to solve this diplomatic crisis. When he died. Is this the truth? Lu Han narrowed his eyes. Of course not. Then go on. This matter is very complicated. It involves White Fang's attitude towards Sarutobi Hiruzen's concerns about White Fang's authority, and the involvement of a third party. This third party you should be familiar with is the person who kidnapped Tsunade. Lu Han suddenly changed color. White Zetsu. Is it White Zetsu? I don't know what his name is, but I've seen him in. The white one is called White Zetsu, the black one is called Black Zetsu, and the half-black and half-white one is absolutely. It's a combination of White Zetsu and Black Zetsu. Lu Han said quickly. Orochimaru's eyes lit up, and after a pause he said, that's White Zetsu. I saw him in the village once, and once again he was exposed in the village, and Sarutobi Hiruzen chased him, but then he appeared in the Hokage building. Sarutobi Hiruzen is also in the Hokage building. Quote. Lu Han listened, his thoughts turned sharply, digesting the information brought by Orochimaru. Sarutobi Hiruzen and White Zetsu turned enemies into friends. Not impossible. There are no permanent enemies, only permanent interests. Sarutobi Hiruzen is very dark and insidious in private, but one thing is certain, he will never do anything to harm Konoha, he will not betray Konoha. And as long as White Zetsu proves to Sarutobi Hiruzen that he does not harm Konoha, but does something for Konoha and provides information to Konoha, then it is not a problem to turn an enemy into a friend. That's how people are. There are too many such plots in the original book. People are fickle, all kinds of betrayals, and all kinds of reconciliations. The previous moment was full of blood, and the next plot is to fight hand in hand. Sarutobi Hiruzen is someone who always thinks about the big picture, and if White Zetsu can really bring him enough benefits, then anything is possible. Of course, all of this is Lu Han's guess, and the truth is unknown. I don't know much about White Zetsu. This is the result of my secret investigation, but White Fang is very clear. Orochimaru continued, it is because of White Zetsu that White Fang's relationship with Sarutobi Hiruzen appeared. The rift, White Fang seems to object to Sarutobi Hiruzen's contact with White Zetsu. Of course, as a subordinate, at most, he suggested to Sarutobi Hiruzen that he can only speak his mind, but cannot change anything. This is one of the reasons for White Fang's death, because of that white guy, White Zetsu. Orochimaru stopped after speaking. He was waiting for Luhan to laugh at the information. Luhan was silent for a while before he said, "Continue." The second inducement, because of Uchiha Lei-young. Luhan's spirit was shocked. Orochimaru should be fully aware of the cause of Uchiha Lei-young's death. After all, such a big thing must be the intention of the high-level Konoha, and it cannot be the intention of Orochimaru alone. Uchiha Lei-young also knew that White Zetsu and Sarutobi Hiruzen were in secret contact, and even suspected that the two had cooperated. Orochimaru continued. His reaction was extreme. He felt that Sarutobi Hiruzen betrayed Konoha. Because that White Zetsu killed you, murderer. And you, single-handedly pulled out Uchiha Lei-young. You can even say, Uchiha Lei-young, is your die-hard. Quote. Luhan was thoughtful. Because of this, Uchiha Lei-young began to communicate secretly after knowing about White Zetsu. He intends to overthrow Sarutobi Hiruzen's rule over Konoha. From Sarutobi Hiruzen's point of view, he wants to rebel, but from the point of view of others, look, it's not like that. He's not going to rebel, but to clean up the traitors for Konoha. But Sarutobi Hiruzen is Hokage after all. Kaharu Udatane, Homura Mitokado and others are all his cronies, for this high-level secret meeting was held 7 times in a row. I don't know the content of the meeting, only 5 people know about the whole of Konoha, including the dead White Fang. After that, Sarutobi Hiruzen first deprived Uchiha Lei-young of his advisory position, and after a while, Konoha Anbu secretly started to unite with the Uchiha people who opposed Uchiha Lei-young. His confidants were attracted and killed. Then, Sarutobi Hiruzen told the public that Uchiha had betrayed Lei-young. The truth. This is the truth of Uchiha Lei-young's death. Luhan suddenly felt a little stuck in his heart. Uchiha Lei-young is really surprising. He actually opposed Sarutobi Hiruzen's collusion with White Zetsu for the sake of the dead Han Guang, and even wanted to overthrow Sarutobi Hiruzen's rule, but he didn't know how much of it was true and how much was selfish. What does this have to do with White Fang's death? Luhan asked suddenly with a frown, as if he was too far away. White Fang refused this mission. Orochimaru said heavily. Chapter-862 their death. Luhan was stunned for a moment, then clenched his fists. He understood. White Fang also does not agree that Sarutobi Hiruzen is secretly colluding with White Zetsu, even if Sarutobi Hiruzen is for Konoha. Sarutobi Hiruzen can even let go of the captivity, but White Fang can't accept it. Also because of the cold light. In fact, Sarutobi Hiruzen can solve this matter with gentler means, such as secretly killing Uchiha Lei-young. After all, his dominance is threatened, but Sarutobi Hiruzen's method is to kill and end the entire real power of the Uchiha clan and kill all Uchiha Lei-young and his cronies, also labeled them a rebellion. Using thunder means to nip the unfavorable factors in the bud. From Sarutobi Hiruzen's point of view, this is obviously the best way to deal with it, and it is also a shock, so that other people who know White Zetsu shut up. White Fang obviously couldn't accept all this. To multiple factors, White Fang, who has always been loyal to Sarutobi Hiruzen, refused the mission. This is the first time that White Fang has refused Sarutobi Hiruzen's mission since he became Sarutobi Hiruzen's confidant. White Fang is a person who is not afraid of death. For the mission, how many times he has survived. Orochimaru continued, but that time, about Uchiha Lei-young's mission, he refused, and in this way, he expressed his dissatisfaction with Sarutobi Hiruzen. After White Fang refused, who took Anbu on the mission? Luhan interjected. Hyuga Burnin, Orochimaru said. Luhan nodded. Sure enough, it was him. This guy is from the Hyuga clan. The Hyuga clan and the Uchiha clan have always been enemies. In Anbu, aside from the extremely powerful White Fang, he is naturally the most suitable candidate. Sarutobi Hiruzen has been very uneasy since White Fang refused to carry out the mission. At that time, he still believed in me and said things to me that people are unpredictable. Orochimaru showed a rather sarcastic smile. White Fang's status too special. He is almost a perfect person, strength, character, fame. His status is second only to Sarutobi Hiruzen and Kaharu Udatane. If Sarutobi Hiruzen dies suddenly, Kaharu Udatane is not strong enough, and the one who ascends the position of Hokage must be him. Sarutobi Hiruzen is very worried, even fearful, because he has no power to fight back in front of White Fang. White Fang knows too many secrets about him. If White Fang really wants to overthrow him, then Sarutobi Hiruzen will be lost. But Sarutobi Hiruzen can't move. White Fang, that mission about Uchiha Leiyang, can't be said in plain sight. In plain sight, White Fang is impeccable. Even if Sarutobi Hiruzen dismisses him, White Fang is still White Fang. He still has that kind of prestige status. Sarutobi Hiruzen really can't do anything about him. Luhan already knew the real cause of White Fang's death, but he didn't speak, and was still listening to Orochimaru. Sarutobi Hiruzen began to distrust White Fang, and this distrust became more and more serious as time went on, and at the same time, Sarutobi Hiruzen also resented you. Lord Hengguang, you have been deified by Sarutobi Hiruzen, you have become the legend of Konoha. The reason why it will be so, not for the reason it seems, Sarutobi Hiruzen is not trying to give Konoha a hero and inspire the next generation, but he is trying to appease some people. Quote, "It's all because of you. You are the real peacemaker of the ninja war." Many people are grumpy because of Sarutobi Hiruzen's secret connection with White Zetsu, including Kaharu Udatane. Because White Zetsu is the murderer who killed you. Sarutobi Hiruzen, in order to appease them, in order to suppress the voices of opposition, gradually began to deify you, write you into textbooks, sing praises for you. You became the greatest ninja since the founding of Konoha. Only then, Sarutobi Hiruzen and kill you, the murderer who colluded with him, will be forgiven by some people. Quote, "Actually, Sarutobi Hiruzen has secretly hated you, and your loyalists have been eliminated by him. The only exception is the current Anbu captain Hatake Teishuo, who is your direct disciple and your diehard, but Sarutobi Hiruzen is still using him. I don't know why, but I guess what Sarutobi Hiruzen should have promised to Hatake Teishuo, I don't know exactly." Some digress. Before, it was still the cause of White Fang's death, but now Orochimaru has begun to blacken Sarutobi Hiruzen, shaping Sarutobi Hiruzen into Luhan's enemy. Luhan understands Sarutobi Hiruzen's mind and doesn't mind, because he knows what Sarutobi Hiruzen is. "Say White Fang." Luhan interrupted Orochimaru anyway. Orochimaru paused, then said after a pause, Sarutobi Hiruzen was also surprised by White Fang's death. He didn't expect White Fang to be so tough, he just wanted to beat White Fang to give White Fang some pressure, and on the one hand, he destroyed White Fang's reputation. On the one hand, wants White Fang to bow his head and admit his mistake. He didn't expect White Fang to be so tough and end it all with suicide. White Fang is completely disappointed with Sarutobi Hiruzen. He is disheartened. The pressure of public opinion is only one aspect, and on the other hand, Sarutobi Hiruzen's indifference and fueling the flames chills his heart. White Fang will not betray Sarutobi Hiruzen, but Sarutobi Hiruzen betrayed him. What can White Fang do? With his character, there is no way he could have done harm to Sarutobi Hiruzen, or Konoha, so I think this is the reason for the ultimate suicide. Quiet. There was no human voice in the valley, only the wind whimpered. After Orochimaru finished speaking, he stared into Luhan's eyes. He wanted to know Luhan's inner activity now. Luhan was very calm and didn't say a word. Luhan didn't expect that Uchiha Leiyang's death and Hatake Tsukumo's death were all related to him. Sarutobi Hiruzen actually had a secret connection with White Zetsu. How much benefit did White Zetsu give him? Is Uchiha Madara really alive? Orochimaru asked suddenly. Luhan looked at Orochimaru. The fact that Uchiha Madara was still alive must have been revealed by Tsunade. Luhan was not surprised, and paused. "I'm dying. I will kill him." Orochimaru's expression moved. It is true. The rumor that Uchiha Madara is still alive has been circulating in the ninja world since Han Guang's death. For 10 years, no one has ever confirmed it. Most people don't believe it at all, and the rest are skeptical. Only Han Guang can prove it. You can't go back to Konoha, Sarutobi Hiruzen will kill you. Orochimaru said again. Lu Han didn't say anything and looked at him. We're not enemies, are we? Orochimaru said again. Chapter 0873 _ to kill or not to kill. Orochimaru said so much and wasted so much saliva with only one purpose, that is, to make Lu Han stand against Sarutobi Hiruzen. The enemy of the so-called enemy is a friend. Originally, Orochimaru did not intend to be an enemy of Sarutobi Hiruzen. Sarutobi Hiruzen did not owe him anything. He killed a lot of Konoha ninjas in order to study the forbidden technique. If Sarutobi Hiruzen knew about this, he would definitely not forgive him, and Orochimaru had a premonition that the matter was not far. Nature is the enemy. Orochimaru very much hopes to be in the same camp as Lu Han. He wants to know how Lu Han was resurrected. Even if Lu Han is willing to share this with him, he is willing to share all his current research results with Lu Han. Life and death. Orochimaru has seen too much. Unlike other heroes, strong men, and heroes, Orochimaru is very afraid of death. There is a difference between being afraid of death and being very afraid of death. Otherwise, he will not study the art of immortality. For immortality, he really does everything. Come out. Lu Han stared at Orochimaru. He was already thinking about whether to kill Orochimaru. This is a peerless genius who can cultivate impure world reincarnation. Lu Han has no doubts about the value of Orochimaru. If he can really cooperate with Orochimaru and even subdue Orochimaru, then Lu Han really doesn't need to kill him, but the premise is. Is it believable? This is a man who can change his mind at will. Miraculous power. Lu Han asked himself that he couldn't do it. For example, he wanted to kill Uchiha Madara. Even if he hid it in the deepest part of his heart, it would still exist, but Orochimaru was able to let go of his murderous intention, and he really let it go. I'm very confused. I can't feel any malice in you. How did you do it? I don't understand, just ask. It's just a change of mind. Orochimaru was very candid, and if he wasn't frank, he became Yuhi. I was thinking before, should I catch you and ask you how you were resurrected, or, in other words, study you in slices. Now I'm thinking, I'm not your opponent at all, and you're really dead. Come back to life again, twice again, no matter what. I can't really kill you, but I got into big trouble myself, so my thinking now is, can you tell me how you came back to life? Very scary psychological quality. Orochimaru's control over his thoughts is pervert. This kind of change is easy to say, but it is super god to change it. What if I don't tell you? Lu Han asked. I will give you enough benefits, such as the information you want, such as what you need, etc. I believe that I can impress you. Orochimaru said. The stalker was so refreshing and refined by what he said. Lu Han suddenly understood one thing. That is, since Orochimaru can suddenly change from Yuhi to Orange, and vice versa, he can also suddenly change from Orange to Yuhi, a very stable and dangerous guy. Lu Han began to reconsider, should he kill him? Not safe. Really unsafe. However, a chance to subdue Orochimaru is in front of Lu Han's eyes. Now Orochimaru has not yet researched the idea of reincarnation without corpse. If Lu Han masters this technique, then he can. You kill me now, Tsunade will be very sad. Orochimaru said. How shameless. Orochimaru knew how deep Lu Han's love for Tsunade was. This was to find Lu Han's weakness. Indeed, if Orochimaru died suddenly, Tsunade would definitely be very sad. After all, Orochimaru at this time just killed some irrelevant people. In the early years, Orochimaru killed innocent people indiscriminately for the mission. Sarutobi Hiruzen made a small report and denounced Orochimaru's inhumane behavior, but this kind of thing could not affect the friendship between Orochimaru and Tsunade. Put it simply, Orochimaru has been a ninja for 30 years, and he has been injured and dying many times. Most of these injuries are for the protection of Tsunade. If you think about it this way, Orochimaru is not very black. He has blocked so many open and dark arrows for Tsunade, and the friendship is not ordinary. Orochimaru has begun to blacken, but he has not yet sinned. He is currently running like a wild dog on the road of blackening. I'm looking for Tsunade. After you return to Konoha, help me with Anbu's information. Regarding the resurrection, if there is a suitable opportunity, I will explain to you. I will live at Makoto's house for the time being. Luhan, after speaking quickly, he turned around and left without giving Orochimaru a chance to say anything else. Orochimaru looked at Luhan's leaving back, his eyes gradually became frenzied and calm again. Resurrection. Eternal life. Orochimaru has been studying hard for 10 years, but there is no result. Now, a shortcut has been placed in front of him, and that is Luhan. In fact, unless there are special circumstances and unavoidable reasons, Orochimaru will not touch Luhan with a single finger. Why? Because the living will take the initiative to cooperate with Luhan, who takes the initiative to speak, is the shortcut. The dead Luhan, the sliced Luhan, who can guarantee that the results will be researched? The simplest and most perfect result is that Luhan himself told him the secret of resurrection. He will work hard for it. He relied on his own research, and it might take another 10 years to get results, but if Luhan told him, maybe tomorrow, maybe a year later, there would be results. Of course, all of this was based on the fact that Luhan was too strong. If Luhan was weak, it was hard to say what Orochimaru would do. He was an unscrupulous person, and killing, cooperating, and stalking were all means. Uchiha Makoto on the cliff and left with Makoto and the Faceless. Orochimaru destroyed the valley, cleared the battle trail, and left. When Orochimaru returned to Konoha, the noise that had been caused by the movement in the back mountain had calmed down, and Orochimaru missed it. The next morning, the Hokage office. What did you do last night? Sarutobi Hiruzen stared into Orochimaru's eyes. Find a quiet place and practice. Orochimaru answered without any flaws. Last night, the tomb of White Fang was robbed. Sarutobi Hiruzen squinted slightly. He had not concealed his suspicion of Orochimaru. What do you think? Chapter 0874 Did you do it? Sarutobi Hiruzen suspects that Orochimaru is not a day or two. Orochimaru kills some unimportant people. Speaking of it, it's not a big deal. If Sarutobi Hiruzen is not Hokage, he may not care, but he is Hokage, the highest judge of Konoha, and he can't let this kind of thing go. Things happen. However, Sarutobi Hiruzen has been holding back. He is afraid of the truth, because Orochimaru is his most important disciple. But today, he couldn't take it anymore. Although White Fang died, he was buried in the Tomb of Heroes. All the heroes buried in the Tomb of Heroes are heroes who have made great contributions to Konoha. These people used to be the backbone of Konoha. Stealing the Tomb of Heroes is so bad that no one can tolerate it. White Fang tomb stolen. Orochimaru's face was icy cold, but there were waves in his eyes, and then these waves turned into a glimmer of light, and his hands trembled slightly, shaking very slightly. It was him. He stole White Fang's body. Is it him? What is he going to do? He wants to resurrect White Fang. He didn't steal the Tomb of Heroes, of course he knew it, and at the same time, he thought of a possibility. What a coincidence, not long after Han Guang was resurrected, White Fang's body was stolen. Sarutobi Hiruzen saw the change in Orochimaru's eyes, and he was instantly furious. He regarded the change in Orochimaru's eyes as a kind of guilty reaction. Orochimaru, who has always been displeased with appearances, had only heard about the robbery of White Fang's tomb. There will be no reaction, he has a reaction, proving that this matter has something to do with him. Really? Yes. You. Sarutobi Hiruzen bit Kiba and stood up, questioning word by word, his eyes fixed on Orochimaru. Not me. Orochimaru regained his composure, very calm. It wasn't him. It's really a big injustice. Sarutobi Hiruzen held the edge of the table with his hands. The flesh on his face was shaking, his eyes were piercing at Orochimaru like a needle, and the room fell into an extremely terrifying silence. Sarutobi Hiruzen was like a lion about to go mad, and it seemed that he would violently hurt anyone at any time. Orochimaru was still very calm, and looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen with a clear conscience. For the first time in their lives, this pair of masters and apprentices was so pointed at the weak Mang, full of gunpowder flavor. "What did you do last night?" Sarutobi Hiruzen asked hoarsely, then gushed, "Answer me." "I said it wasn't me, it wasn't me." Orochimaru replied coldly. He answered very cleverly. He didn't say what he did yesterday, because he couldn't say it, and if he lied, there would be a hole in his heart, and about White Fang Tomb. "It's really not him." Sarutobi Hiruzen clenched his fists. "It's not him." A low voice suddenly sounded in the dim corner of the room. Sarutobi Hiruzen's face changed, and he turned to look at the thin figure who appeared in the corner at an unknown time, but he heard the thin figure say again, "He is telling the truth." Sarutobi Hiruzen's expression loosened, then he sat down on the chair, raised his hand to Orochimaru, and said in a hoarse voice, "Go ahead." Orochimaru turned around and left. At the same time, the thin figure standing in the corner walked to the desk. When Orochimaru walked to the door, the thin figure also walked to the desk, turned to look at Orochimaru's back, and seemed to want to see through something. Glancing at the slender figure, he pushed open the door and walked out. Orochimaru knows who this man is. Root leader, Musashi. Musashi is very mysterious and has no other identity on the surface. It is said that he was raised by Anbu since childhood. Orochimaru has also heard that Musashi has the ability to read people's hearts, but he does not know whether it is true or false. After Orochimaru left, Sarutobi Hiruzen sat up straighter and tapped his fingers on the table. When he answered you that it wasn't him, his heart was bright, there was no dark fog in his heart, no flaws, it was really not him. Musashi with a mask said in a low voice, "I'm afraid there is nothing in this matter. The inner conspiracy should be purely a provocation by the enemy country." Quote, "White Fang's body is worthless. So Konoha doesn't know who else would do this except Orochimaru, a maniac who likes to experiment. Since it's not Orochimaru, there is only one explanation left. Destroy the Tomb of Heroes and punch Konoha in the face." "But," Musashi groaned again. "What?" Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned. "He's injured, although he covers it up well." Musashi continued, "But I can still see that he has injuries, and it's not serious." The office fell silent. "Keep an eye on him," Sarutobi Hiruzen said with a sullen face after thinking for a while. "Although the White Fang affair has nothing to do with him, he probably did something that no one else knew about last night, if those things were really his doing. Then he should have cleared my doubts about him by now, and there must be other actions in the near future." Quote, "This subordinate understands," Musashi said. Makoto's small courtyard, the sun is just right in the morning. In the wooden house, Luhan is talking to the little black cat. Since Luhan came back last night and rescued the little black cat has become very docile. She knows everything about Luhan. She has lived in Konoha for 13 years, because it is a forbearance a beast, so she is still young, and she is very aware of the major events that happened in the 10 years that Luhan missed. A lot of things, even Uchiha Makoto doesn't know, because Makoto is too withdrawn, and the little black cat is different. After all, she is a cat, she will always run around in Konoha village, and even go to fight with other ninja beasts. It is natural to hear more. Makoto was cooking. It was breakfast, but because last night, Makoto only woke up in the morning. "You said that Konoha had already made arrangements before the outbreak of this ninja war, and the deployment of troops was prepared a month in advance." "That's it." The little black cat nodded. "At that time, there were many small conflicts between countries, but they were very restrained and did not dare to carry out large-scale military mobilization. They were afraid to stimulate neighboring countries and lead to an escalation of the war, but we Konoha seemed to know in advance that the war would take place. Outbreak. Woo meow. The little black cat howled suddenly, all the hair exploded, and turned to look at the corner of the room. Luhan held her down without letting her transform, and turned to look. The Tomb of Heroes, did you do it? Orochimaru, who appeared in the corner at some point, stared at Luhan and asked. Chapter 0875 _ in Righteousness. The insight map did not show that Yuhi's name was approaching, and Orochimaru's name was orange. Luhan knew that someone was secretly approaching here at a very fast speed, but he didn't take precautions. The little black cat was very frightened and struggled a little while being held by Luhan. Orochimaru who knocked it out and sealed it yesterday, and she didn't know what happened after that. When she woke up again, Luhan had returned to Konoha with Makoto. When Uchiha Makoto at the kitchen door heard Orochimaru's voice, she also stuck her head out, and immediately retracted her head, but she wasn't too worried, she was very at ease here with Luhan. Luhan stroked the little black cat's head, tilted his head and said, "Go out and talk." The two of them disappeared into the room at the same time. Not long after, somewhere in Konoha village, in the jungle, Orochimaru and Luhan appeared one after another. "You stole White Fang's body?" Orochimaru asked, a little impatient. "Yeah." Luhan didn't deny it, he knew what Orochimaru was thinking. "What do you want to do?" Orochimaru stared at Luhan with a frenzy in his eyes. "You want to revive him, right? Are you going to revive him?" "Yes." Luhan nodded and glanced at Orochimaru. "I can help you," Orochimaru said immediately, even taking a step forward, trying to pull Luhan's arm, but Luhan avoided him. "I have done a lot of experiments in this area, and now I have some eyebrows. I think I can help you, and the technique of impure world reincarnation, although I don't have a master yet, but I already know the principle. I will help you, how about it?" Quote. It's fake to help Luhan, and it's real to want to know how Luhan resurrects the dead. In fact, both of them are well aware of this. Orochimaru is testing Luhan's thoughts. "Besides, I still need to prepare, it may take a few months." Luhan said lightly, glanced at Orochimaru. "Actually, we don't need to go around like this. I know what you are thinking, resurrection is not as easy as you think. I spent 10 years, you help me, I will help you, understand?" "What do you want me to do?" Orochimaru squinted slightly, he hated the feeling of being threatened. "Information. I need information," Luhan said with a heavy voice, "in addition to the information about Tsunade I told you yesterday, as well as the major events and small matters of Konoha in the past 10 years, some things worthy of attention, you know, you can what you find useful, I need them all." "It's not a problem, I need some time to collect," Orochimaru said. "There are a few more questions, you can answer me now." About Tai Shuo. Since Hitachi Tai Shuo knows about White Zetsu, what is his attitude towards Sarutobi Hiruzen? "Loyalty," Orochimaru affirmed. "There's something going on here. It shouldn't be. I can't find it." "How many people know about the secret connection between Sarutobi Hiruzen and White Zetsu?" Luhan asked again. "You want to overthrow Sarutobi Hiruzen?" Orochimaru asked, eyes flashing. Luhan glanced at him and didn't answer. "If you really want to do this, I can tell you that it is very difficult. Even if you are Konoha Hangwang, you ruled Konoha for only 2 years, and Sarutobi Hiruzen has been in charge of Konoha for 30 years. Orochimaru said coldly, "You are the greatest ninja, and he is the greatest Hokage. Sarutobi Hiruzen has done a lot of sins in secret, but he is unshakable in righteousness. Those things, such as the decline of the Senju clan." "You know," Luhan interjected. "Tsunade said that she had a falling out with Sarutobi Hiruzen before she left, and I was there at the time." Orochimaru continued, "Speaking of this, it is Sarutobi Hiruzen's fault, even if he puts the blame on the dead Danzo, anyone with a discerning eye can see clearly. But he only hurt the Senju family. After that, he pacified the First Ninja War. Right or wrong, how many points, you should understand, and that was more than 30 years ago. After all, even me, I don't have much impression of the powerful Senju clan, and thinking about it now, it's just a pity. The high-level people know about White Zetsu, and Konoha's high-ranking ninja, they all know a little bit, otherwise Sarutobi Hiruzen wouldn't be forced to helplessly deify you. Even if you make this public, you can't shake Sarutobi Hiruzen's status, because those who can really affect Sarutobi Hiruzen's status are those high-level ninjas who hold real power, but these people are loyal to Sarutobi Hiruzen, Kaharu Utatane, Homura, Mitokado, etc., are all die-hards. And those low-level ninjas, they listen to the wind and rain, as long as those high-level ninjas still support Sarutobi Hiruzen, and what the Konoha high-level executives say, they will listen to what you say. Even if you say the truth, it will spread to the ears of the low-level ninjas, is also a rumor. You have a big brain. Luhan said lightly, I didn't ask you that. I'm just telling the truth. Orochimaru replied coldly, if you hadn't died back then, and now you're Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen's return wouldn't have shaken you. But you're dead, Sarutobi Hiruzen's return, and he's done it in Konoha in 10 years. In order to cleanse and make Konoha into an iron plate, I advise you to give up the plan to overthrow Sarutobi Hiruzen with rumors and the truth. Although Sarutobi Hiruzen is extremely hypocritical, everything he does is for Konoha to win the war and for Konoha's internal stability. Although some unscrupulous, in the hearts of those high-level ninjas in power, Sarutobi Hiruzen is an extremely good ruler. Ha! Lu Lang laughed. If you really want to overthrow Sarutobi Hiruzen, I suggest you reveal your identity. Sarutobi Hiruzen can't move you at all, and he is already getting old. You can directly compete with him for the position of Hokage. In this case, your odds of winning are even greater. Of course, you can also assassinate him. If there is a chance, I can help you. Change the topic. Luhan interrupted Orochimaru's eloquence. Luhan was still a little uncomfortable with Orochimaru, who talked a lot. Ask someone. Uchiha Obito, do you know? I know. Orochimaru nodded. Namikaze Minato's disciple, but he died in battle last year while on a mission. Chapter 0876-Chance to kill Madara. At present, Uchiha Obito can only be regarded as a small person. The reason why Orochimaru knows him is because Uchiha Obito is a disciple of Namikaze Minato. Namikaze Minato is too famous. Died last year, Luhan muttered to himself. The Battle of Kanobi Bridge took place when Hatake Kakashi was just 12 years old and just became Jonin, and Hatake Kakashi was born in Konoha's 34th year, so the Battle of Kanobi Bridge took place in Konoha's 46th year. Obito didn't die, but was rescued by Madara. Now in February of the 47th year of Konoha, the Third Ninja War has come to an end, and the Ninja War will end in the second half of this year. Sarutobi Hiruzen will also abdicate to make a sage. Namikaze Minato will become the 4th generation Hokage, and then Namikaze Minato will get married. 1 year, in October of the 38th year of Konoha, Uzumaki Naruto will be born, Namikaze Minato will die, and 3 generations will be restored. In fact, if Luhan really wants to be Hokage, he only needs to wait for Sarutobi Hiruzen to abdicate and he will return to Konoha. Namikaze Minato will have to step aside. The title of 4th generation Hokage must belong to Han Guang, and Sarutobi Hiruzen can't stop it even if he wants to. However, Luhan doesn't care about this now. Matter whether it is the Ninja World War or the position of Hokage, Luhan is now thinking about killing Uchiha Madara. White Fang's son is also a disciple of Namikaze Minato. Luhan asked. Yes, it's called Hatake Kakashi. Orochimaru nodded. Anbu has been investigating him secretly, and wants to absorb him into Anbu. Orochimaru was not surprised that Lu Hanning asked about Uchiha Obito and Hatake Kakashi. Although it was not long before he was resurrected, he must have already investigated something happened. Namikaze Minato's disciple, who else? Luhan asked again. Namikaze Minato has a total of 3 disciples, Hatake Kakashi, Uchiha Obito, and Nohara Rin. Orochimaru continued, Uchiha Obito has died in battle, and now Kakashi and Nohara Rin are left. They haven't performed tasks for the past 6 months. It is said that the death of Uchiha Obito caused they are in a precarious state. Quote. Yeah, Luhan nodded. Fortunately, Nohara Rin has not been captured by Kurigakure village. In the original novel, Nohara Rin was captured by Kurigakure village and forced to become a 3-tailed Jinchuriki, column force because of his special system, and then Uchiha Madara put a spell on her heart. After preventing her from committing suicide, Nohara Rin did not want to be controlled to attack Konoha, so he took the initiative to die at the hands of Hatake Kakashi, and this scene was seen by Uchiha Obito, who had a crush on Rin. Everything is a conspiracy of Uchiha Madara. He relied on this conspiracy to lead Obito to the darkness, making Obito despair of the world, so Obito inherited the will of Uchiha Madara and became the new Uchiha Madara, continuing to execute the Moon Eye plan, while Uchiha Madara was in the process of connecting yin and yang escape with 6 paths. After teaching the technique to Uchiha Obito, he severed ties with Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, and died of exhaustion. That's right, Uchiha Madara is dying. Within a year, if Luhan doesn't kill him, he will die too. But Luhan still wanted to kill him. Let him explain the funeral clearly and die with peace of mind, it's too cheap for him. The ninja world is too big. Without accurate information, it would be impossible for Luhan to find Uchiha Madara. Rin Nohara was an opportunity for Luhan. At that time, Luhan can find Uchiha Obito, and through Uchiha Obito, Luhan can find Madara. Luhan and Orochimaru agreed on the time and place of the next meeting. They parted with Orochimaru in the woods. Luhan told Orochimaru that he lived in Makoto's house, hoping that Orochimaru would inform him in the event of an emergency, not hope Orochimaru finds himself when he has something to do. Orochimaru is also in trouble now. Luhan didn't want to be exposed because of Orochimaru's relationship. Ever since he knew that Sarutobi Hiruzen had a connection with White Zetsu, Luhan never wanted people to know about his resurrection, because once Sarutobi Hiruzen knew about it, Uchiha Madara would probably know it too. Will be even more difficult to find Uchiha Madara. Once Uchiha Madara knows that Hengwang is resurrected, Tsunade will also be in danger after the previous experience. In terms of the ability to find people, White Zetsu is a godlike existence. Luhan has made a decision to reveal his identity after killing Uchiha Madara. At Makoto's house, when Luhan came back, the table was full of delicious dishes, it was steaming hot, and the time was just right. Luhan, Makoto, and the little black cat were eating together. Makoto didn't know what happened between Luhan and Orochimaru, but he didn't ask anything. Although she was curious, whether it was 10 years ago or now, there is a huge gap between her and Luhan in terms of identity. She understands what to ask and what not to ask. After dinner, Makoto was washing dishes in the kitchen. The well-fed little black cat wanted to go out for a stroll, but Luhan brought him back when he walked to the door. I saved you, right? Luhan smiled genially. The little black cat rolled his eyes, took 2 steps back, and asked anxiously, what are you doing? I have a task for you, can you help me? Luhan said with a smile. What task? The little black cat was even more nervous. Do you know Nohara Rin? Yes, I know. Help me keep an eye on her and let me know if she ever leaves Konoha village or goes missing. This is it. Yes, that's it. Huh, it scared me to death, I thought you wanted me to do something. The little black cat looked relieved, and jumped off the table. I'm going, leave it to me and you can rest assured. Bar. Luhan frowned slightly as he watched the figure of the little black cat jumping out of the window. Very unreliable feeling. This little guy doesn't pay attention to it at all. Into the night. The dimly lit hut, Luhan and Uchiha Makoto had just finished dinner, and both of them drank some wine. Makoto asked for it, but Luhan did not object. With the strength of the wine, Makoto showed an extraordinary intimacy to Luhan. I still have something to do. Lu Han said and got up. Ah, Uchiha Makoto, who put his hand on Lu Han's shoulder, was suddenly sober, and Yuhi's fluttering face couldn't hide the disappointment. Come back tomorrow. Lu Han smiled at Makoto and disappeared. It's really something. He's going to resurrect White Fang. Chapter 0877-not reincarnated. Resurrection of White Fang is a big project. Lu Han told Orochimaru that it would take several months to prepare. In fact, he lied to Orochimaru. It would take several months, but it wasn't anything to prepare, but the process of resurrecting White Fang. It will take a few months. And the past few months are also the conclusions Lu Han has drawn conservatively. Because he didn't know how strong White Fang was when he died. Late at night, the former residence of Cold Light. Basement. The basement of Lu Han's house is not small. I am afraid it must be 300 square meters. It is 12 meters below the main building and is 5 meters high. It was originally used by Tsunade to hide money. Later, the money was transferred out. Empty. Coming to the basement, Lu Han lit the candlestick, and then began to arrange an isolation formation in the middle of the basement. There are many formation techniques to isolate the breath, not all of them are sealing techniques. Many secret techniques also have this effect. They are basically formed in the form of curse marks. In the early years, when Lu Han had not yet recovered Uzumaki, he could get it by killing and dropping it. All of the scrolls will be used up, including the isolation secret technique, and there are more than one. The best one is the B-level secret technique. Secret art, sealing art. Lu Han hand-sealed, he pressed one hand on the ground, and 8 curse print chains extended from under his palm. These 8 black hand print chains extended close to the ground, and then extended forks. Connected, and finally formed a circle with a diameter of about 3 meters. With a flash of light, a transparent cover appeared within the circle, isolating the formation. Lu Han waved his hand again. Rumbling _. Dark Yuhi-colored coffin fell heavily on the ground. It was White Fang's coffin. Lu Han pushed open the coffin lid. In the coffin, in addition to some buried weapons, ghosts, gold, silver and other objects, there were also rotten beasts. The leather cushion, on the animal skin cushion, is a bone. The bones are not white, but blue-gray, and they are the bones of White Fang. Lu Han stood beside the coffin and stared at White Fang's corpse motionlessly. After watching it for a long time, he let out a sigh. The main reason why Lu Han decided to resurrect White Fang was to know the historical truth from White Fang's mouth. Now, Lu Han has heard Orochimaru say many things, but Lu Han still wants to resurrect him. After all, he has already decided. His right hand to block his right eye, Lu Han stared left, and the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan began to spin wildly. Mangekyo Eye Technique, Tides of Time and Space. Retreat. Lu Han's resurrection of White Fang are divided into 2 steps. The first step is to return White Fang's state to within 7 days after his suicide. The second step is to use the subversive termination ability to resurrection, depleting 10% of his strength, and White Fang resurrected. The second step is easy. As long as Lu Han is willing to pay, it is not a problem. The first step is troublesome. Because Konoha died in 40 years, now it's Konoha 47 years, he's been dead for 7 years. It is undoubtedly a long process to bring White Fang back to the state he was in within 7 days of his death 7 years ago, because White Fang was too powerful during his lifetime. He was an extremely powerful life form. This power exists in his genes. It is more difficult to let White Fang go back in time than to let Tsunade go back to the past. What's more, going back 7 years. Lu Han's plan is to take a little time every day to use the tide of time and space to let White Fang go back to the past. He does this every day. Lu Han can let White Fang go back to the past much faster than the real time. To 7 years ago. Time flies. Lu Han stood motionless in front of the coffin, like a sculpture, only the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan was spinning. Half an hour later, when Lu Han chakra bottomed out, he stopped and began to rest. After another 15 minutes, Lu Han's chakra level was full. White Fang go back to the past with the tide of time and space again. In this way, 8 hours have passed, and it is almost 4 o'clock in the middle of the night, and the sky outside should be almost bright. Lu Han ended today's resurrection operation, closed the coffin, and took the space backpack. White Fang is really too powerful. It took him 8 hours to get him back to 16 days ago. In this way, it would take me about 5 or 6 months. That's about half a year, to get him back to where he was just now. The state of death. Quote. On a new day, Lu Han went back to have breakfast with Makoto, and then started to wander around the village of Konoha. Just hang out. The matter of gathering intelligence has been handed over to Orochimaru. Orochimaru can freely enter and exit Anbu, and has a very high authority to check the intelligence. Moreover, he is Tsunade's close friend. He can tell Anbu clearly and ask Tsunade's whereabouts information, but no one can say a word. No word. There is no need for Lu Han to worry about this aspect, and Lu Han has a lot of leisure time. Throughout the day, Lu Han looked around in Konoha village, went to Konoha Hospital, Ninja School, Konoha Military Headquarters, Mission Hall and other places, and observed some worthwhile observations. People to focus on. It's been a day like this. After dinner, Lu Han came to the basement of Han Guang's former residence again and took out White Fang's corpse. Late at night, Lu Han put away the White Fang coffin, turned off the lights in the basement, walked to the corner and sat down against the wall, and began to wait. Today is the 7th night after his resurrection, and he will be able to enter the subversive space again. 0 in the morning. Lu Han's body flickered illusorily. In the silver-gray space, the suspended light ball cracked open. Lu Han walked out from the inside, turned around and said, "Ingot exchange item, reincarnated without a corpse." The ball of light immediately shone into a box in front of Lu Han, and inside the box were 2 people transforming their soul patterns. This is the forbidden technique, reincarnation, that Orochimaru cultivated after many years of research in the original book. Of course, there is a price here as an exchange. The price is 1200 ingots. Really cheap. This is the technique of immortality. It can be said that it is one of the forbidden techniques that is closest to the profound meaning of life and death. Although the way of immortality is too far-fetched, immortality is immortality. For ninjas who are eager to have eternal life, no matter how much they pay, as long as they can live forever, it is worth it. Lu Han was very indifferent to this technique, but he still planned to exchange this technique, which he had thought about 2 days ago. This technique will become a bargaining chip for him to coerce and even conquer Orochimaru. Chapter 0878-Psychic Beast. The side effects of turning without a corpse are very large, and there are many disadvantages. First of all, the reincarnated person is stronger than the person who is the container. Of course, this is a small problem. The interval between each reincarnation should not be less than 3 years, which is not a big problem. The really serious problem is that after reincarnating with a new body, there will be a problem of body fit. Master slowly over time. Generally speaking, it will take at least 7 or 8 years for the fit to be high, and even so, it will be difficult for the reincarnated person to exert his full strength before. In addition, there are serious defects. First, the reincarnated person will be in a state of mental weakness before and after reincarnation, which is very dangerous. Second, there may be exclusion. If the selected container is not suitable, not only there will be no so-called degree of fit, but there will be rejection, which is life-threatening. Because the interval between reincarnations is at least 3 years. If within 3 years after reincarnation, the rejection is too strong, that person will be abolished, and the extreme case is death. Forbidden technique is not reincarnated, the price is not too high. However, none of this mattered to Lu Han. He didn't know how to use this technique either. He gave it to Orochimaru. In the original book, Orochimaru could study this technique, which means that his research direction is like this. Lu Han taught this technique to Orochimaru, even if there are many shortcomings in this technique, Orochimaru will definitely be satisfied. For those who are obsessed with wanting eternal life, those shortcomings are really nothing. The exchange is not reincarnated. Luhan made a decision without thinking too much, because he had already thought about it. Exchange completed, said the subversive messenger. Forbidden technique scroll, from the space backpack, opened it and used it. A strange feeling suddenly enveloped Luhan's body, and some memories entered Luhan's mind. The technique of reincarnation without corpse does not mean that it can be used immediately after hand seal. The reincarnation process is relatively complicated. The memorabilia that Luhan obtained was a detailed explanation of the specific steps and methods of reincarnation. Luhan checked his ingots again, and there were less than 200 left. Before he entered the subversive space today, he had more than 1,300 ingots. Some of these ingots were saved 10 years ago, and some were obtained in the Snake Cave Valley that night. Most of those snakes are ninja beasts, but only a few were judged as bosses. Although many of them also showed their level was elite level, and their level was very low, so although Luhan killed a lot of snakes, his level was too high. Gao, there are not many ingots obtained. Get more as a psychic badge. The number of psychic badges that Luhan has obtained in history is far lower than that of ingots. According to the rules, the explosion rate of psychic badges is much higher than that of ingots. At present, Luhan has more than 1,800 psychic badges. Check the psychic exchange items. Luhan said. The light flickered, forming a huge light curtain. There were small squares in the light curtain. Each square was a psychic exchange. There were two types, puppets and psychic beasts. Comparatively speaking, the price of a puppet is higher than that of a psychic beast, because the puppet master is immortal. After being crushed, it will enter a cooling period, and then it can be psyched again, and the psychic beast will die when it dies. However, what Luhan wants to exchange this time is a psychic beast. He is of great use. At present, the psychic beasts that Luhan has unlocked are infinitely growing juvenile ninja beasts worth more than 2,300 yuan, and they need to be cultivated. Luhan doesn't have time to cultivate juveniles. What he needs is a mature body, strong enough, and extremely intelligent. Ultra-elite level mature psychic beasts can be exchanged for only 300 ingots. If Luhan wants to, he can exchange 6 at a time to form a small ninja group. After all, the fighting power of this psychic beast group will not lose to the 7 people of the Mist Ninja Sword during World War II. However, even the 7 members of the Mist Ninja Blade during World War II were vulnerable in front of Luhan. It is difficult for a mature ninja beast to grow further, and it will die. Luhan doesn't want to use the exchanged psychic beast as cannon fodder. There are too many, thousands of psychic exchange items, and Luhan is a little confused. The price is higher than 300 ingots, mature body, high intelligence, small body, can fly. Check out the psychic beasts that meet these conditions. Luhan pinched his eyebrows. The light flashed. No. The light curtain was retracted, but it did not pop up again. Remind the subversive 3665 that there is no psychic beast that meets the conditions you said. The subversive messenger said. No. Luhan was taken aback. Yes, no, there are very few flying ninja beasts. Most of the small flying ninja beasts are not strong, and the price is less than 300 yuan. In this case, then remove the flight conditions. Luhan said. Whoa. The light curtain is reproduced, and the area is not very large. There are about 100 grids on it, which are all eligible psychic exchange items. Ninja Psychic. 60 level medium high intelligence and agility ninja. Green Shadow, 1670 badges required. Beast with the highest price that meets the conditions. Its strength is comparable to that of a level 60 white silver boss. It seems to be as ugly as it is going to be, and the name Bai Xiaoluing is now. Luhan had a headache when he saw it. Why was it different from what he thought? However, Luhan did not immediately reject the Green Shadow, but looked at the detailed explanation of the Green Shadow's ability, This is a ninja beast of Grandmaster Futon, Wind style ninjutsu. The body is indestructible, a pair of sickles is enough to easily tear the steel. Reacting consciousness pervert, but it also has weaknesses, that is, its physical defense is very strong, but in the face of ninjutsu attacks, its defense is much worse. Luhan needs the psychic beast to let the psychic beast follow Yi Yuanren. He doesn't believe in the little black cat, and the psychic puppet is either not smart enough or can't keep away from Luhan and is not competent for this task, so he can only exchange psychic ninja. This mantis named Lu Ying, an agile ninja, barely met Luhan's requirements, just barely. Chapter 0879-Shadow Cat. Luhan still rejected the green shadow, because this guy only has agility ability, but he has no hidden tracking ability, and Luhan is very suspicious of the wisdom of the mantis. Even if it is defined as high intelligence. Add 2 more conditions: first, be good at stealth tracking, and second, be good at escaping. Luhan thought for a while and said. The light flashed again. This time there were only 12 options left for Luhan. Ninja Beast Psychic. Level 60 Medium-High Wisdom Doden, Earth Style, Ninja Beast. Flower Rock Snake, 1550 badges required. This is the 12 highest value Psychic Beasts, 11 Azure Gray Snakes. The detailed introduction states that this snake, Grandmaster Doden, Earth Style, Ninjutsu, has the ability to burrow into the ground, moderate speed, and strong defensive ability. Will run away. Meet the conditions, but Luhan continued to look down. These 12 meet the conditions, and he is not in a hurry to decide. Luhan looked at it very seriously. He would read every detailed explanation of the psychic beast carefully. 5 minutes later. Luhan suddenly froze. He just saw the 6th one, this psychic beast, very special. Ninja Psychic. 50 level high intelligence alien ninja. Shadow Cat requires 1380 badges. The strength of this psychic beast does not exceed cage level. It's just the level of the top super elite, but the price is as high as 1380 psychic badges. Luhan immediately looked down at the detailed introduction of this so-called alien ninja beast. A magical creature that escaped from the spiritual world, perceives the power of space and time, walks in the darkness like a ghost, shadowless and invisible. When it screams, the world will fall into a borderless fantasy. This is a very informal elaboration. Luhan's eyes lit up, and he asked eagerly, this Shadow Cat, can it know time and space ninjutsu, right? That's not ninjutsu, but an innate ability. The subversive messenger responded, the Shadow Cat itself does not have very strong fighting ability, but it has the ability of time and space, similar to ninjutsu, and at the same time, it also has the Grandmaster demonic illusion. And the art of transformation, and, as a psychic beast with the ability of master time and space, it can reverse the psychic contractor without the need for a hand seal. Quote. Reverse channeling. Ninja Psychic summons the ninja who signed a contract with it, which is called Reverse Psychic. This is the ability that exists in the original book, but not all ninja beasts can. In the original book, only a certain big toad from Mount Myoboku can reverse the psychic ninja. Others, because there is no relevant plot in the original book, it is impossible to judge, and those ninja beasts able to reverse psychic. That's it. Exchange it. Luhan stuttered in excitement. The 1380 psychic badges have been deducted, the ninja beast is being generated. The subversion messenger made a mechanized sound, and then the ball of light brightened, emitting a dazzling light. After more than 10 seconds, the light began to weaken, and finally returned to normal. Ninja beasts are alive and cannot directly appear in the space backpack, where living creatures are not allowed. The ball of light suddenly split open, forming a dark passage. A furry little guy jumped out of the passage, looking left and right as if he was looking for something. When he saw Luhan, his eyes suddenly lit up, he let out a meow, and disappeared in place. He appeared on Luhan's shoulder in an instant, grabbed Luhan's hair with a pair of small claws, and kept meowing. Luhan grabbed the little guy in his hand with a strange expression on his face. Is this the fucking Shadow Cat? The kitten is only the size of a woman's palm, and it looks a little smaller than Uchiha Makoto's little black cat. The hair is shiny purple, thin and small, and it looks like a small milk cat. Meow, meow meow. Shadow Cat shook his head and called. Can you speak? Lu Han asked. Talking tired. Shadow Cat made a crisp sound, followed by meowing. Is it okay to speak human words? No, meow meow. You will demonic illusion. Meow. Space-time capability. Meow. Meow your sister. What does meow mean? Your sister. My day. Lu Han's face trembled, he wanted to return it. What kind of broken cat, disobedient, will talk back, and learn to scold others? It looks less reliable than the little black cat. The shadow cat is very close to its owner, but it likes to play, has a strong sense of territory, and is extremely intelligent. According to humans, its intelligence will be defined as a super genius. The subversion messenger explained. What about mission capabilities? The shadow cat will strictly implement the mission instructions given by the owner, even if it doesn't agree with its mouth, there will be no problem in its actions. Ah, Tsunere. That's understandable. Lu Han blinked at the ball of light, and then looked down at the shadow cat that was rolling on his hands. He couldn't help but raised his hand and flicked its little head. You say no, your body is very honest. Meow. Shadow Cat seemed to be angry, turning over and staring at Lu Han. The vast forest stretches as far as the eye can see, the wind is blowing, bringing bursts of strong bloody aura, the sun hangs high in the sky, flooding the world with light, noon is the hottest time. Lu Han stood on the towering giant tree 200 meters high for a moment, facing the poisonous sunlight, sweating profusely. A kilometer away is the battlefield. The towering trees were destroyed into pieces, there were firelights everywhere, and thick smoke filled the air. The forest had turned into ruins, and above the ruins were thousands of corpses, people who were cut into two sections. The ninja whose head was beheaded was still alive, and was crushed under the collapsed giant tree. Half of his body had been crushed, and he was howling shrilly. Blood, blood. There is blood everywhere. The eyes are devastated, the corpses are everywhere, and the blood flows into rivers, like a purgatory on earth. The tail beast is roaring. 1 tail, 2 tails, 3 tails, 8 tails, EPUB 9 tails. All tailed beasts are on the battlefield, they are slaughtering the remaining ninjas. More and more ninjas come and join the battlefield, but they cannot turn the situation around. Still being slaughtered. Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, suddenly descended on the battlefield, absorbed all the tailed beasts, roared up to the sky, and turned into 10 tails. The earth was shaking, the smoke and dust rolled over the sky, and the 10 tails rushed towards Lu Han with a terrifying aura that made people tremble from the heart. Lu Han looked at it with a dull expression, and his eyes gradually widened. This is... Suddenly, a flash of lightning flashed across Lu Han's mind. Mingwu. This is a fantasy. Chapter-860-Hostile Camp. When Lu Han recognized what he saw as an illusion, 10 tails, who was about to strike Lu Han with a fatal blow, suddenly stopped in front of Lu Han. At the same moment, the whole world stopped. The sun lost its temperature and the wind stopped. The leaves blowing and drifting away in the wind froze in the air. On the distant battlefield, the morning ninja remained motionless as he raised his head and screamed, and the burning flame solidified into a translucent sculpture. A huge cat has appeared. Purple cat. Shadow cat. High as several thousand meters, it is no longer a word to describe the behemoth. It is unimaginable that the 10 tails is in front of it, like a baby. The giant shadow cat stepped on the catwalk and walked to Lu Han, raised its huge paws, and smashed the stationary 10 tails into pieces. Then its big head approached Lu Han, and let out a meow. Rumbling _ The fantasy world collapsed. Silver gray world, subversive space. Lu Han held the shadow cat in both hands, and his eyes became clear. The shadow cat meowed and began to roll on Lu Han's palm again, as if it wasn't what it did just now. Sigh. Lu Han sighed, as if he was regretting something, then raised his head and asked, as the shadow cat fighting. Anti-fighting. The subversive messenger gave a positive answer. Wow! The shadow cat howled, jumped out, and started to escape. Don't run. Stop. It's the opposite of you. Dare to cast demonic illusion on me, I'll beat you to death. Luhan Zhangqiba danced and chased after the shadow cat. The shadow cat was getting faster and faster, Luhan's speed also getting faster. The shadow cat finally began to move instantly, flickering and disappearing frequently. Luhan was chasing it only based on speed, because the space area of the subversive was very limited, which was equivalent to the size of a warehouse. The shadow cat could not run out, and could only circle in it. In the silver-gray space, there are shadows of Luhan's shadow cat everywhere. Luhan shot again and again, and every time he almost caught the shadow cat, but almost every time. After all, the shadow cat is in a flash. It is the ability of time and space. Although there will be a pause after each instant, it is also beyond the speed. Fortunately, the space here is limited. If he is outside, Luhan will be even more difficult to catch it. Luhan finally used his telekinesis ability to accelerate, and only once, caught the shadow cat into his hand. The shadow cat was like a loach. It twisted and slid out of Luhan's hand. Luhan blinked again and grabbed it again. This time, it didn't let it escape. Luhan used both hands to hold it down. Beat it up. Meow. The shadow cat called softly, looking at Luhan with pitiful eyes, shaking its tail. Luhan was a little soft-hearted, and he really couldn't handle this small animal. Let you make a fool of yourself. Luhan flicked its little head. Ah! The shadow cat suddenly tilted its head, sticking out its tongue as if it was dying. This guy actually pretends to be dead. Luhan laughed angrily at it, and flicked its head again. A new day at Makoto's house. The morning sun was very mild, and it poured into the hall through the window, leaving a bright yellow, purple-haired little milk cat crawling on the round table, looking lazily, curled up and closed its eyes, as if it was sleeping, but its tail still lingered. Shaking left and right subconsciously. It's so beautiful. Is it really a ninja? It looks so small. Don't underestimate it. Oh yes, don't provoke it, it's very naughty. Where did you come from? Don't lie to me. I picked it up on the street, and I don't know who lost it. HMPH, I don't believe it. There were voices of men and women talking from the kitchen. Luhan was cooking breakfast with Makoto. Makoto was still on vacation. This was the last day. Tomorrow she had to work in the police department. Can't do it unless she leaves Konoha. Makoto is enjoying the quiet time now. She also knew that there were not many days like this, because Luhan would eventually leave and go to find Tsunade. Luhan was washing the vegetables. Makoto stood beside him beating eggs, and looked very unhappy. How could this ninja beast be picked up casually? It's so cute, You were deceived by it. In fact, it is not cute at all. Remember, don't provoke it. Luhan said very cautiously. Cat, I understand. Makoto looked like I knew everything. Hey, Luhan smiled, his expression suddenly condensed, and his hands that were washing vegetables stopped. Then, he slowly stood up and wiped his hands with the towel beside him. What's wrong? Makoto noticed something was wrong with Luhan. I have something to do, go out first. Luhan said. In a hurry, dinner will be ready soon. It's urgent, you don't have to wait for me to eat. After Luhan finished speaking, he disappeared. Just now, the insight map showed that a big Yuhi name appeared 3 kilometers to the south. Normally, Konoha shouldn't have the Yuhi name against Luhan, because Han Guang is dead, and now Konoha except Makoto and Orochimaru. No one else knows about Luhan's resurrection, because no one else knows, even if he used to be hostile to Luhan. Those who have hatred for Luhan will not regard the dead Luhan as an enemy. Konoha shouldn't have the name Yuhi, and the big Yuhi name that just appeared out of nowhere is not the ninja of Konoha. There is another rule for judging the name of Yuhi, an enemy or an enemy. It's about hatred and hostile forces. For example, in a war between the two countries, because of the fact that they belong to different factions. The ninjas of the faction that are hostile to Lu Han will be judged as Yuhi. Lu Han, but was still judged as Yuhi. Yuhi name that just appeared is from Lu Han's hostile camp. At present, there are only a few people who will be judged as Lu Han's enemy camp by the rules. They have a deep hatred with Lu Han, because Lu Han subjectively identifies them as enemies, so even if the other party does not know Lu Han's resurrection, they will be judged as enemy. Big Yuhi name, White Zetsu. After leaving Makoto's house, Lu Han sneaked and moved, quickly approaching the Hokage building. White Zetsu flashed for a moment, then disappeared, and Lu Han couldn't follow him, but it is speculated that he came to Konoha to find Sarutobi Hiruzen.